The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Ah, my damn. Yeah, it's wonderful to be live on a Wednesday morning with all of you. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Although there might be a few of you who aren't feeling like you can get after it this morning. You're not quite up for all the responsibilities of the day. Sure, that vibe is very familiar, but maybe this will help you out. Josh was telling me something off air. He said, no matter how bad you think you've got it, at least you're not the folks who made the latest Joker movie.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
What did you say earlier? This was, I thought, very interesting.
So I was just reading this morning. They project this movie's going to lose only $200 million.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Can you imagine being somebody who's like really in charge of that? You're a director, writer, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, maybe Joaquin had the performance of a lifetime. I haven't read that, but maybe it really had nothing to do with him. But
you didn't see it yet.
No, I'll pass. The first one I didn't like a ton. And I was telling Nick off air, if nobody told me, if they just said, here's a movie, watch this movie, I would have no idea it had anything to do with the Batman universe. I was confused most of the time. It felt a lot different than what I expected. But yeah, it's being we mentioned the other day, it's being panned by critics. And critics I always take with a grain of salt. I'd rather hear what the fans have to say. The people are actually regular people. But nobody seems to like this movie. Even people who really like the first one. $200 million. That's like the state of radio today.
That's a large pile of money. $200 million. Because I'm imagining it cost him quite a few bucks to create this friggin' thing.
Yeah, create, promote. You got a lot of people to pay, obviously. And they thought it was going to be a pretty big success.
Is this the second Joker movie?
Yes.
Because I remember
the second with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of. It's like asking about Star Wars movies, and then people will say, well, there was this version of them and that and then Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett. So I didn't mean to turn the screws there on you. Yeah, I remember just a couple things about the prior Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. I don't really recall much about it. It was a number of years ago. But sure, I'm like everybody else. I see the ads start popping up on television. I know that the prior version was very popular. So I imagined or I assumed that this would be massive.
So did I.
And it would be a major hit. And then Josh tells me they stand to lose $200 million. I don't know if that's an all-time record in Hollywood, but I bet it's up there Summers.
Jesus Dork said that he broke both of his wrists this weekend, and he still feels better than Joaquin Phoenix. There's a comedian named Tim Dillon who he missed the cameo. He had a cameo in it, right? And he missed it because he was texting how bad the movie was. He was in the movie, and he's texting how bad the movie was.
Oh, he goes to see the movie.
Yeah, he's there, and he's just texting as he goes.
Waiting to see his cameo.
Yeah, and he missed it.
Wow, this sucks. He's texting somebody, and he missed his own cameo.
That must have been a long text or a very quick cameo.
Yeah, one of the two.
I'm sure it must have been pretty quick. High hopes, McGee, Jesus said. In interviews, the director, Todd Phillips, said he wanted the movie to fail. He was contracted to do it against his will.
That's what I would say, too, if I knew we were going to lose $200 million. Yeah. I'd say I meant to do that. Yeah. Todd Phillips, why does that name ring a bell?
Hangover.
What?
He directed the Hangover movies.
Well, then what the hell's he doing directing a scary Batman movie?
Well, he did the first one, the first Joker.
Oh, well, then there you go.
He was a road trip. The Hangover movie.
We want to make a gripping drama about a scary character. Oh, let's get Todd, the guy who made the Hangover movie. It doesn't make sense to me, but okay, he made the first one, and obviously that one was a success. Well, that's I don't know Dick Tracy about movies and Hollywood and the kind of money that trade hands. But that sounds pretty devastating to me.
Yeah, that would suck if you're the person that has to answer questions about that, right? Let's see. I'm looking up the list of the most notorious box office bombs. See if I can find it.
Well, the one that was a punchline for way longer than it should have been, and this is going back to when Josh and I were kids. You young folks probably won't even remember this. It was a punchline for way longer than it should have been. Ishtar.
Oh, sure.
There was a movie in the, I'd say mid-'80s starring Dustin Hoffman and what was his name? The guy that was banging Madonna for a while. He's older. Warren Beatty. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty, and it was a movie called Ishtar, and it cost a fortune, and no one went to see it. And every stand-up comic in America had an Ishtar routine for about a 5-6 year span. Do you see that anywhere in the mix? Or would it be, are movies so expensive now that a movie from 1985 wouldn't even factor into the mix?
So I'll be honest, I'm having a little trouble understanding this list on Wikipedia. Maybe there's a better one. But it looks like the Marvels from last year lost the most. $237 million it lost.
Yeah, that was a big one.
And then if you adjust that for inflation, that's $237 million, it says here.
Wow. If you adjust it for...
So, yeah, the original number was $237 million, but you got to keep in mind inflation, and so that's $237 million.
The other one, the other punchline, as far as bad movies, busts, expensive movies that didn't cut it, also, every comic in America had a joke about Water World.
Yeah,
I liked Water World.
I did too.
I expected it to be absolutely horrible because, just like you said, it was a punchline. Everybody said how bad it was, but I thought it was pretty good, actually. John Carter on the list from 2012. They say that lost, well, how do you have a swing like this? Somewhere between 112 and 200 million. I think by now they would have figured that out.
Keanu Reeves, right? John Carter?
No. You're thinking of John Wick.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. Let's see. I lost a text here. Oh, Masshole Jesus. She liked it, the Joker, too.
Oh.
And she doesn't understand why people are hating on it.
All right, well.
Maybe I will watch it.
Someone on the panel has to go out and see it. If it's losing that kind of money and every critic in the world is taking a dump all over it, I got to hear more about this. I know I'm not going to take the time to go see Joaquin Phoenix cry in another movie. Someone else has to do it for us.
I never even saw the first one.
I don't...
Well,
maybe you'd like it, I guess. It was more artsy than I thought it was going to be. I hope people don't mind me saying that. At least to me, I felt it was that way.
Like I said earlier, Dana, I don't really remember much about it, but you like cartoons and such, right? You like the Ninja Turtles, right? If you like the Ninja Turtles, you probably will like the Jokers.
Well, the people were joking, speaking of joking, over the weekend, Terrifier 3 came out. You know, there's a clown in there. They were saying, that clown beat Joker. You know, one of the most famous ones of all time. The DC universe is decently sized. And Terrifier 3, which people are saying there's a scene in there which was absolutely insane.
I didn't know Terrifier 1 and 2 happened, but here we are at Terrifier Part 3.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho was in Terrifier 2.
I watched the trailer for Terrifier 3. I think that was good enough for me. It looked a little too gory for my taste.
That's all you need?
Yeah.
Those movies are bad.
That was tough to watch.
So many people were saying that they wanted to barf when they were watching the second movie. I was like, yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Barf-a-fire, maybe they should have called it, huh?
Just barfing in the aisles. There goes popcorn. Oh,
All right.
There goes the slushy.
Well, that's funny. It's funny when other folks lose mass amounts of money. At least I get a kick out of it.
All right, yeah, more people are texting in, said the Joker was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Bummer.
You know, I've been messing around with television programming lately. It's something I don't normally do.
Your wife, she must have got, you mentioned I'd watch this, I watched that. You mentioned your wife is watching it.
Well,
she's kind of got you into stuff.
No. The last two, the ones I was going to bring up had nothing to do with the friggin' wife.
Well, all the other stuff you're watching. You'll say, I'm watching The Bachelor. Or you watched one of those types of things.
I caught 5-10 minutes of The Bachelor, yes. Yeah, I suppose every once in a while we'll try to watch a documentary. That's usually what we get involved in. Okay, there you go, Josh. I watched the Menendez family documentary. That's one that the friggin' wife and I watched together. But the ones I was going to bring up here, this was all by myself. I'm a big boy now. I can watch, television all by myself. This was just in the last couple of nights. I caught on to the latest version of Scare Tactics.
Oh, I watched the first episode.
And this is a show I really got a kick out of years ago. We've talked about it on the program, Josh. We both enjoyed the show Scare Tactics. A number of years ago, it was hosted by Tracy Morgan and somebody else. And
Shannon Doherty was the first one, I believe.
Yep.
I didn't watch the Tracy Morgan version.
And there is something really fun about pranking somebody and scaring the hell out of them. So I was drawn to it. It went away. Now it's back. I caught an episode or two last night, and it was still pretty enjoyable.
Oh, really? I watched the first episode and thought it was pretty dumb. I almost turned it off.
Okay.
I didn't. Maybe the second one was better.
Well, in the episodes that I watched, one gentleman was fooled into thinking he was watching Satan's baby fall out of a lady. Okay? That was the prank on him. Was a lady shot a baby across the room, and then the baby immediately got onto its feet and chased this man, and they set him up to where he believed this was the child of the devil. That was somewhat enjoyable. And then the other episode I watched, a man was fooled into eating what he believed to be the skin of a dead human being. At any rate, I mean, it was okay. I guess I just wanted to say, if you're interested in trying the latest Scare Tactics, I thought it was okay. But I am a sucker for pranks and scaring people. It's always been something that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, I thought that second part of the first episode, the guy that thought he was eating human, long pig, they kept calling it, right? I'm sure you've heard that term before.
No, I hadn't.
Oh, okay, you had it. I forget, it was from a book. Was it Lord of the Flies? I can't remember where that was from. But
well, I remember Lord of the Flies. There was a character called Piggy. But anyway, yes. So you saw the episode where the guy was fooled into eating what he believed to be human flesh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He went for it. He was hesitant, like I think we all would be. I think that's one of those where I'd pretend I was putting it in my mouth and drop it on the floor.
Yeah.
But some of the people, when they were talking about food, that part was the most annoying. You know, they were such foodies.
They were overacting?
Yeah, it was a little too much.
So I tried that, and then the next route I'm going to take here is going to be more like what you'd expect from me. I'm normally never the guy that's going to comment on a current program. I'm the guy who will lose his temper on the radio over a movie from 14 years ago that everyone's done with. I just don't get around to. A couple nights ago, I was looking for something to watch, and I remembered, I don't know how long ago it was. I was talking about my fascination or my love of prison movies. The simplicity of a prison movie, where it's just survival of the fittest kind of a thing. You guys know the scenario?
Yeah.
And a listener texted and said, if you want to watch a great prison movie, you got to watch Vince Vaughn in a movie called, you'll have to look this up, it's like Gang Bang in Cell Block 9. I can't remember the title of the movie. Can someone look up Vince Vaughn's prison movie? He's the lead actor.
Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Brawl in Cell Block 99. Yep. That was close. I watched this the other night. Can you look up, did he write this?
No. A guy named S. Craig Zoller did.
That dude sucks.
Is that who wrote it? I see that's who directed it. Did he also write it?
Write and directed it.
I'm sorry to this listener if he or she is listening right now. I don't mean to disrespect you because you're the one who recommended the movie. I didn't even make it all the way through. I turned it off with about a half hour left. This was one of the worst friggin' motion pictures ever made. Vince Vaughn must be smoking rock these days to have agreed to. Vince Vaughn, talented guy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't believe that part of the way through shooting this movie, he didn't say, what are we doing? This is so dumb, I can't believe it.
Was he your typical Vince Vaughn? Fast-talking, slipping stuff in here and there.
No, he was a stoic, tough guy type of a character.
Weird.
So there you go. My comments on current programming are as follows. Take a shot at the latest scare tactics. It's decent. And if you have an opportunity to watch Whack Off in Cell Block 9 starring Vince Vaughn, don't do it. Oh, my damn. It was terrible. Despite an appearance by Don Johnson.
Oh, I love him.
As the evil prison, what do you call the guy that's the boss in prison?
Warden?
As the evil prison warden.
You like Don Johnson, Ashley?
Yeah.
Nobody likes Don Johnson.
I like Don Johnson, but it doesn't seem like something a young 20-something would ever get into.
He's in this new show. I think it's on Hulu. It's called The Odyssey, where they're like he's the captain of a cruise ship, and there's like doctors on the cruise ship, and they run into problems.
Oh, is that Dr. Odyssey? With,
Dr. Odyssey.
Joshua Jackson,
yeah.
Oh, that looked really stupid.
Okay, so that's what I thought, and then it just started like playing after one of my other shows. It's not that bad.
Is it decent?
It's entertaining.
Yeah,
it's silly, but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
All right, now listeners are texting in with other suggestions for prison movies. I don't know. I don't think I can. I can't put myself out like that again. After I've been hurt after watching this Vince Vaughn nonsense. I'm sorry. I appreciate what you're doing, but I don't know if I can take a chance again. Shot collar.
Oh, I've heard that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they said about Gangbang and Cell Block 9. Let's Go to Prison. Saw it already. Love it. Great prison movie.
That's good.
Great prison movie.
Ashley, did you watch Rebel Ridge?
No.
The Don Johnson a Netflix movie?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I want to see that one. I was going to see what your take on that was.
She's your go-to Don Johnson person now.
Well, yeah, she is now.
What else is going on around here this morning?
Somebody texted in Shawshank Redemption. Never heard of that one.
I haven't seen
Love
that
movie.
one.
I have seen Rebel Ridge, actually, Josh. That's a pretty good movie.
You forgot you saw it? It must not be that good.
Yeah, it might
because
not
it
be
just
memorable.
came out.
I always forget titles. But yeah, he's all right in that, I guess.
Ooh, American Me. Yep, saw that many, many years ago. That's an outstanding movie. American Me. Edward James Olmos, I think, was the name of the cat.
Oh, he's good.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
American Me, Josh?
Yep.
Violent ending. Very violent.
No Longer Mopar Jesus said Rebel Ridge was great. I got that on my list.
I don't know that one. Well, there you go. Wednesday morning. Making plans with my derelict gambling friends to leave tomorrow afternoon for Wisconsin.
You going to do any gambling, you think? Maybe a sports bet or two, I'd imagine, but are you going to sit at a table or
I
hit a
will
slot
make.
machine?
I'll bet on some ball games. No slot machines. No, not my style. Sitting down and playing poker or blackjack. Also, I've learned not my style. If there's a chair at the roulette table, maybe I'll give it a crack. Other than that, it'll be betting on ball games.
Any in mind, or are you just going to figure it out?
Not a one. Yeah, I don't know who's playing who. We'll figure it out when we get there. Like you were saying a few days ago, we've had some luck together as a family making bets. Josh, maybe you'll join me for one or two.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And then other than that, it's for me, it's about picking up some strange.
I'll be. You're not going to pick up any strange.
The wife's out of town.
Stop that. Yeah, she's going to be at Turtle Lake. She texted me, said she's going to surprise you. She's going to surprise all.
That would suck. That would suck. You'd probably be the guy, even though you love me, right?
Yeah, of course.
You'd still probably be the guy that would give her a key to my hotel room knowing what I'm doing in there.
Well, just because I love you and I want you to... she's good for you.
Right.
It's a good relationship.
You'd try to keep us together by giving her a key to the friggin' hotel room, knowing what I'm doing in there.
But I would also try and come up with an alibi, which, he got into some of my epilepsy medication, and if you don't have a neurological disorder, it can make you cheat. He doesn't know what he's doing.
That's brilliant. You are friggin' brilliant.
I would try-
Epilepsy medication.
You know,
she
I'd
would
help
buy
you
that.
out. Yeah, it affects your brain.
Yes.
His decision-making is off.
Man,
He has
I'm
no
never
control.
going out of town without you. From here on out, I'm not going out of town without you because that is on the spot like that. He got, like I'm a dog, he got into some of my epilepsy medication, like you'd say about a dog. D-A-double-G. Wait a minute. W. How did he spell it?
Who? Which one? Snoop Dogg?
D-O-double-G.
Yeah, D-O-double-G.
I don't know. I don't know how to spell dog.
A lot of people are saying we should have heard of Shawshank Redemption.
Is it new?
What?
Yeah.
Who's in it?
I don't know. I didn't even think it was a real thing.
No, I don't know that one.
Do we still have the sarcasm horn around here somewhere?
Yes, I do. Of course, we know what the hell that is. Two stupid guys in a stupid prison, then they get together on a beach and bang.
They probably did. Just like Tom Hanks at volleyball on Castaway.
Yeah, he humped that thing,
Oh,
didn't
so hard.
100%.
Why do you think he was so heartbroken when the thing floated away?
Here's a guy that, he didn't get our sarcasm. Morgan Freeman's in it, he says.
he? Who the hell's Morgan Freeman?
We know
Is
what
that
you're
a
talking
singer?
about. I sat there for 3 hours just to watch two guys bang on a beach.
Is that a guy or a girl, Morgan Freeman?
That's it, I said, at the end of that movie? Shawshank. That's it?
It's a pretty damn good movie.
Now these guys are going to scissors on a beach? I waited 3 hours for that? All right. I love playing the sarcasm game because some of you folks just wet your pants. I dig it. Right? My friggin' wife's really not coming to Turtle Lake, is she? You didn't?
No, she didn't.
Because you guys text a lot.
Yeah. It's funny, you came in one day and go, what's going on?
Yeah. I thought I could trust my bro.
Yeah, well-
and I find out you and my friggin' wife are texting back and forth, and neither one of them says anything to me about it.
I thought you knew.
Sketchy.
No.
Because sometimes you'll say, yeah, she came. Well, you find out. She'll be like, she must say something to you.
Well, I can't remember how I found out, recently that you had a secret exchange. And
Well, it wasn't supposed to
I
be
wasn't
secret.
included for days.
She, text about something you had said, you know.
Oh,
Because
right.
sometimes she'll send me pictures of you sleeping and say how cute you are. And
That's
stuff
so
like
dumb. That's so
awesome.
dumb.
Like, look how adorable he is.
Oh, and it's not adorable.
Oh,
I
it's
look like
super
an old
adorable.
man in a casket.
You look so peaceful.
Well, peaceful,
I like
yeah,
seeing
like
you
an old
peaceful.
man in a casket. Yeah, she's odd like that. She'll sneak up on a player. I'm out cold on the couch, you know. She'll take a picture of like a close-up picture of my face.
That's
and then,
awesome.
And then send it to Josh.
Just drool coming down your
Oh,
face.
I gotta still got a chew in my lip, and I'm out cold. You know, it's just gross. All right. While we were talking about movies there for a while, I know we hit on this a few days ago, but this time around it was Variety Magazine. Variety Magazine, Josh. Do you have that in the mailbox once a month?
I don't, but I check their website from time to time.
They're the latest to take on the greatest horror movies of all time. Again, I know we talked about this a few days ago, but they went ahead with number one all-time Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm totally in favor of that.
I've never seen the full version of the original. Just portions.
Oh,
It's
it's
good.
so much fun.
Turned off the remake with R. Lee Ermey.
He was excellent in that remake. Absolutely excellent. Terrifying, creepy, everything you want in a horror movie character. I loved R. Lee Ermey in that one.
Yeah, I don't know if it was good or bad. There's just one particular scene I thought, I can't do it. The gropey
there
scene.
you go.
You know what I'm talking about?
I remember the gropey.
Yeah.
The dead lady gropey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a little much.
Dead lady boob grab.
Yep.
Yep. That's the one.
Yeah.
You guys know how it is when there's a dead body and you can't help but fondle it.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Let me get a little squeeze in here before.
I mean, they're just laying there.
Yeah.
So is that how you get up to munging? You know, you start there and then...
Gotta start somewhere.
Boy,
dude.
there's a lot of steps in between. Wapple, if I know you have, but if you read the full description of what munging is, you start screaming at your computer screen after the first 5 minutes and think, how can this keep going on? Don't look it up. Whatever you think it is, it's 10 times worse, and then add another 10 times worse than that. Even Munging Jesus, I think the first time he looked it up, and he has the moniker there, he said how disgusting it was.
He barfed.
Well, yeah, when you read the description, you're like, how does somebody come up with this? Much less, how do they keep having more to say? Yeah, I don't think it starts with, well, maybe it does start with the grope waffle of a dead person. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, probably. You got to start somewhere. We got to get started with the For Real Skis here on the program this morning. Wednesday morning. Appreciate you hanging out with us as usual. The stupid news and we got some freaky stuff, I think, in the stupid news, if I remember right. Stuff's going to make your stomach hurt a little bit. We got that coming up in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
On to the stupid news, huh? Fair enough. What's the old slogan again, boys? Double the flavor, double the fun?
Was it double the flavor? Yeah, double the something, double the fun. Double mint gum?
That's right. Let's meet the woman with two vaginas.
Hello, lady.
Or maybe I should say, let's all meet another woman who is hauling around two vaginas, because I know we've covered this kind of thing afore.
Mm-hmm. This one's got a Lindsay Lohan, but with two vagina vibe, don't you think? I thought she was
looks
very
a little bit
Lindsay Lohan-y.
She does look a little bit like Lindsay. Two vaginas, twice as nice. Like red beans and rice. Now, what's different about this here gal with dos vaginos is that she says 99% of the fellers who go down that way, they don't even notice that her vagina has a twin sister. She's a 26-year-old gal by the name of Annie Charlotte. She's rolling on dubs, Josh.
I don't know. I guess I've never seen one, so I don't know if I'd recognize one. If it's all like an interior thing, you know.
Is that what we're dealing with here? I can't be 100% sure.
That's my understanding.
Oh, well, okay. I guess I'll have to read the story again. I thought, all right, I'm not trying to start trouble here. But I do think it needs to be said that Annie Charlotte is another one of those OnlyFans online porn ladies. So I think we have to wonder if this is a work.
All those things you do wonder.
A phony story to get more dudes to dial her up and pay her to watch them masturbate while their grandmother is off shopping and away from the family computer. And okay, you mentioned one is swinging in the wind like it should, vagina. The other is hidden or interior. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because I looked this gal up and down on the godless internet, and I saw many very personal pictures, and I wasn't able to spot vagina part deux.
Oh, so yeah, I didn't see her naked, just some of the more PG-13 pictures.
Oh, dude, the naked pictures. She is not shy. I never spotted the second one, and I thought maybe there was some photoshopping going on or something. I never considered what you said a minute ago, that the second vagina might be hidden up in... but I'm not a groinecologist.
I wonder if it's easier or more difficult to find the G-spot and how many you have if you got a couple of vaginas. I mean,
that'd be pretty cool.
Do you have double the odds of finding? Are the odds better? Or maybe it's just hidden further because you got to part more areas.
The G-spot. What about double the orgasms?
Yeah. Can you have back-to-back, like a double-barreled orgasm? That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know these damn things. But
or if you get both of them at the same time, it pretty much just blows you away because it's so good.
Blows
what?
Wait, who gets blown away? Her?
You.
What?
Because of her orgasm. It's so great that you hit both at one time.
Like it shoots me across the room?
Yeah.
That's never happened to you?
No, I didn't even know that was a possibility. I've had no good sex my entire life, if that can happen.
She just warns you, hang on, boy.
The woman with 2 vaginas, she says she discovered she had double barrels when she was 16. A doctor at that time went ahead and told her that she had caught a condition called uterus didelphys, meaning she has 2 uteruses, 2 cervixes, and 2 vaginas.
We have a text.
But where the hell is the second one? Because, again, I looked at the pictures. Go ahead.
It's interior.
It's interior?
Yeah.
All right. Does that count?
Well, yeah, it counts.
It counts?
I mean, because, most women have 1. She lucked out with 2. This person says, I think double uterus or double vaginas more common than people think. I work at a hospital. We've had patients with double uteruses over the years in their OB department.
OB?
Obstetrics? Can you help me out?
No clue.
Obstetric? I can't remember.
Don't worry about it. Granted, when this gal learned she had a double whammy going on downstairs, it was not the type of news that a 16-year-old kid needed to hear. When you're 16, you're worried so much about, will I fit in? And I'm not trying to be cute with that. Will I be known as a freak at my school if anybody finds out about this? She did not want to learn. She was not excited to learn that she had 2 of them. But she's all grown up now. And again, she says 99% of the dodes who have partied in her pants haven't noticed anything different going on. Well, I guess...
I don't think I'd notice.
That explains that. Yeah. The whole time I was reading this story and editing this story, I thought, well, how do you not notice that there's 2 of them, but if one of them is interior, then that explains that. Sometimes she tells the fellas after they've had intercourse. And that really throws them for a loop because they say, well, how the hell did I miss that? But if it's interior, that changes everything. I was thinking, a guy would say, look, I wore your ass like a hat for 35 minutes. It looked okay from that angle. How did I not see a second one?
I like to put myself in a position where I might notice something like that, and I still don't know if I'd notice something like that.
Does she get, mad at the partner for not noticing? How didn't she notice that?
No, she doesn't get mad.
I don't know why she'd get mad at something like that. Making Maps, Jesus said, if you're able to hit both G-spots at the same time, you actually take a screenshot.
No.
Okay. Like I said, I've got a whole new outlook on this story since Cubby opened his yap a few minutes ago. And
I drive a Hyundai, but ride your dad. She's said, guys can't find the clitoris. Of course they wouldn't notice a whole second vagina.
True.
When you're not, expecting it.
No guy goes into a one-night stand and says, I wonder if tonight's the night I'm going to see 2 beeves down there. No.
They don't teach you that in sex ed class, nothing like that.
And this is another line from this Charlotte that misled me to believe, maybe I'm just stupid, but it misled me to believe that there was just one side by side with the other in full view. Obviously, that's not the case. She says that the vag on her right side is bigger and more dominant than the other. The left-hand vag is like a mini fridge that you keep in the garage. It's similar to the original, but not quite the same. Sometimes when she dumps the news on a guy before they get it on that she's got dose, she says the boys get a little intimidated. But in general, she says men are fine with it.
Yeah, I can't imagine thinking, well, relationship over.
Well, plus she's quite attractive. And we're not that picky. We'll put up with most fellas will put up with much weirder things than that.
Yeah, anything past one, you can have as many vaginas as you want.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
I mean, and also, you got to be curious. So at that point, you're like, yep, but we got to go for it for that one reason. There's not others.
I don't have a Jesus name. I'm just Will. Said he dated a gal that said she had 2 vaginas, and he's like, okay, cool. But he couldn't tell anything was different. Not as cool as one would hope for, he said.
Well, sorry about that, Will. We'll put up with some pretty weird stuff. Don't worry about us, ladies. If you're going to allow us to hump up and down on you for 30 seconds or so, we'll put up with some weird stuff.
Very appreciative of that. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Fun Size Shiza says, does that mean 2 periods? Hell no. Pass. Not worth it.
That's what I was thinking, too. That would be awful. Double the cramps. Oh.
Double the tampons.
Waffle's worried about the cost.
So expensive.
Gosh.
You know what? You're right, Waffle. That is really expensive.
Well, here's a listener who says, so that would be like a dude having 3 balls. I suppose. Yeah. Or 2 penises.
Or 2 penises, yeah.
Oh, 2 penises would be great. I mean, honestly.
Would you want on top to bottom or left and right?
Boy, I think I go left and... Well, I don't know.
Oh, I want my second one to be as far away from the first as imaginable.
Me too.
Yep.
That's what you need.
All the way behind.
Or kind of like Josh when he wore the dildo on his forehead.
Yeah,
as far away from the original as possible just to make things interesting.
Because a threesome would be far more pleasurable if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't want the one side by side with the other, for Christ's sake.
On the forehead, so you have to wear a stocking cap at all times.
If you're a gentleman having a threesome, you'll probably say to yourself, 2 penises would have been so much better for this.
Years ago in Hustler magazine, they advertised some dirty movies starring a guy with 2 penises. I never bought it, meaning I never believed it. Can anyone...
We know a guy that had 2 holes.
Holes?
Remember he had 2 holes in his penis?
Oh, yeah, for God's sake.
Yeah, 2 penises. I don't know that I've ever heard of such a thing.
You mean, what do they call those things? Urethras?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was connected to a urethra or whatever. But
I remember that
holes.
guy. He had 2 exits for his dong worthy. Well, anyone who looked at Hustler magazine in the mid-'90s, do you remember the advertisements in the back where they put all the movie ads? Do you remember the dude who had 2 penises? Was that real? I never looked into it. I always assumed it was a special effects thing. All right. Get back to me, 651-989-9393. All right, I'm going to go ahead and guess that Smashly has these here pictures up on our website, 93x.com. The filthy Halloween decorations.
Yep.
I'm not sure where this display can be seen in person, and it really doesn't matter. You can see it online, and of course, that's more important than anything else these days, isn't it? Right? Online, existing online is more important than real life. A dude set up some skeletons in a sexual position in his front yard.
I thought it was
to decorate for Halloween.
I don't think I'd have the courage to do that for the repercussions from the neighbors, but it is pretty fun.
Yeah, I love it.
If you can't see the pictures on our website right now, maybe you're driving a motor vehicle or something, it's a skeleton salad tossing daisy chain is what it is. Some of you know what I mean by that, but most of you maybe will understand better if I describe it as skeletons set up like what we all saw in the movie Human Centipede.
Oh.
In the old days they called it a daisy chain. Now it's always referenced by mentioning Human Centipede. So the skeletons are on their hands and knees, 3-4 of them, and they're servicing each other. Except, of course, for the poor bastard. The poor bastard's on either far end. You know what I'm talking about. The dude put the scene up in his yard, and then he also put pictures of it up on that TikTok gong show, looking for a reaction, obviously, and he got one. A lot of folks are telling him he's a total jag-off for putting something like that on display for the whole neighborhood to see. And, 9 times out of 10, I couldn't give 2 pumps what somebody puts in their own yard. But I got to say, when you read this effing guy's comments on TikTok, he comes off like he was mad at someone going into the bit.
Aw.
Yeah, it's weird because, he's probably one of those guys that wants people to come up and say something.
Oh, yeah,
someone
of
that's
course.
wearing a greatly offensive T-shirt, whatever. Wear whatever you want. But if somebody says something to you got to predict it, whether it's right or wrong. Somebody's probably going to have something to say.
You're exactly right. I would, 9 times out of 10, be totally fine with this. I don't care what you put in your yard. But this guy comes off like such an angry douche that I'm going to join the conservative crowd and say he needs to get rid of it. He comes off like he's mad from the get-go, like he's doing the dirty skeleton bit to get revenge on his neighborhood or the world or something. If he came off more silly and lighthearted about it, that would be a completely different situation.
I agree.
Here's how the guy comes off. So he puts the pictures up on TikTok, and then he writes, I don't know what this means, POV, you don't have kids so you can have inappropriate Halloween decorations. POV, I know what that means when I'm watching a porno movie. I don't know what it means when you're texting.
This is my view on it.
My point of view, you don't have to have kids, you don't have kids so you can have inappropriate Halloween decorations. So like Josh says, he's just challenging people right away. I'm going to do this. You got something to say about it? That's his attitude. He called everyone who criticized him a Karen. He also posted, got something to say? Yeah? You gonna get added next, bitch. Whatever that means.
Oh,
This dude needs to tone it down.
So someone hurt this guy's feelings, and this is his way of acting out, I guess.
If I was walking through the neighborhood and I saw that skeleton butt munch routine, I would have assumed it was like some teenagers that put them in that position. You know, vandalize the yard and then like, oh, this will be funny. I wouldn't assume it was a grown-ass man who was proud of it and posted it on TikTok.
I like this comment from someone who didn't like his decorations, or at least the idea of kids seeing it during Halloween. Someone posted, maybe you should move to a more trashy neighborhood to display your crappy way of life. I like that one. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, and there's other people saying, I'm so glad this dude doesn't live next to me.
Again, it's funny. It really is. It looks very funny, and normally I wouldn't care. But this guy opened his mouth, and he comes off like such a dickhead that...
Yeah, he didn't do it because it was funny.
No.
He did it just to be provocative in a negative way.
Like you said, the
to
guy...
start a fight. That's what he wanted.
To start a fight. Like you said, the guy who walks into the bar with the wildly offensive T-shirt, and he acts like he's not looking at everyone for their reaction, but he is. And he cannot wait for someone to look at him sideways because he wants to argue his point. Air filter. Yes?
It is pretty funny.
Yeah. Air Filter Jesus texted in. He looked at a lot of Hustler magazines in the mid-'90s. He doesn't remember the guy with 2 hogs. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's one of yous out there. I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the woman with 2 vaginas. There was a dude in Hustler magazine, and the magazine led me to believe that he was performing in porno movies using 2 penises. I always thought that the second one was special effects. I'm not leaving here today until I find out the truth.
I'm going to guess you're right. It was special effects.
Yeah.
We'd probably know about this guy.
Oh, they would never lie in a Hustler ad.
All right, good point.
You think you probably would have heard about him by now?
I would think all of us would. Like we know Jonah Falcon, the guy who claims to have the largest penis in the world, right?
Is it possible to have 2 fully functioning penises?
Maybe we could talk to a urologist.
Okay.
Maybe a urologist could listen. Listening.
Some more yard decorations. Again, I assume you can check out on our website. A lady in stupid England had to pull down her Halloween decorations because they were apparently too scary. She had a couple of realistic bodies inside body bags hanging from a tree in her yard. So it looks like dead bodies in bags hanging from their feet from her tree.
It must be a pretty conservative neighborhood. It looks like a very nice neighborhood. I didn't think that was scary at all. It was just kind of cool.
And yeah, they are up on 93x.com.
Thank you, Ashley.
Wasn't it last year the dude had like mannequins that looked like they got their head chopped off by a garage door?
Oh, yeah, that one was good.
Those ones were insane.
I don't recall that, but I was going to ask you, Josh, did this same gal make the news last year for the same reason? I had a serious case of deja vu when I read this and saw the pictures.
I don't know if that's the same lady or not, I guess.
It looked very, very familiar.
It didn't say in the story, at least.
She's a foxy MILF by the name of Carolyn Ashley. She said she was surprised, but no, not gobsmacked, when the local police stopped by and told her to take down her Halloween setup. A neighbor had complained. And she eventually took everything down to avoid bothering anybody or getting a ticket or whatever. She says someone or another even came back to her place the next day to check the decorations to see that they'd been taken down. So they were very worried about this in her hometown. So now she says she's going to put her dead bodies hanging upside down vibe up in the garage from now on, come Halloween, right next to where she keeps the real bodies, she said.
Terrifying. Physics teacher Jesus said, you asked if you could have 2 functioning penises. Well, my school has 2 functioning dicks as co-workers.
Well, what the hell? Oh, my damn.
What?
HVAC hustling Jesus has texted in to say the first porno movie he ever watched was in the early 1990s, and a dude had 2 dongs and 4 balls.
Whoa.
And his name was Jean-Claude Van Dong.
I'm a fan. That's awesome.
I might have to look up his work.
And HVAC hustling Jesus said when he watched that very first ever porno movie, he was terrified that he was deformed, he himself, because he only had 1 with 2 nads. The guy, Jean-Claude Van Dong, had 2 with 4.
Oh, poor guy.
And he thought, there's something wrong with me. That's fascinating. Maybe that's the guy I was looking at in those magazines. Maybe it was Jean-Claude Van Dong.
That's funny that he wondered that about himself. I remember having a lot of questions back in the day, wondering what was normal and what wasn't. But there was nobody I was comfortable asking, not my friends, certainly not my parents or a teacher.
Did you have a lot of questions?
I did. There were some things I didn't know. Some things I really thought I need to know this.
I appreciate everyone trying to help me out with this. All right, Cubby. Sometimes I think you find overly English-sounding stories and you toss them into the stupid news report just to watch my blood pressure skyrocket.
There might be something to that.
Because this here story is so over-the-top English and stupid, it almost made me puke.
So I was going to skip this one, but it is absolutely everywhere.
I wish you would have.
We could skip it, but I mean, honestly, I was surprised how much coverage this is getting.
I mean, here it is. I mean, just the opening line. It says here, the unusual British sport of conkers has erupted into controversy after the winner of the men's title at this year's World Championship was accused of cheating with a steel chestnut.
What?
Yeah, conquer, steel chestnut, Ashley. Come on.
Right there, the word.
How stupid.
Conquer. Can't you just hear an Englishman saying, "Oi then, you fancy a quick game of conkers?"
Oh, it's adorable.
Just makes my skin crawl. All right, let's get into this. I want to get through this as fast as possible. The World Conquer Championships. 200 people showed up, and here's how you play the game. Friggin' English. You use you put a chestnut on a leather string and try to break your opponent's chestnut.
That sounds like what you do when you're dirt poor and you've ran out of every other idea how to entertain yourself.
Good
I could
point.
see us doing that when we were kids.
Is anyone else furious yet, just from hearing this?
Yeah, I find it kind of charming.
Only the English would gather up for something so damn dumb. So,
But
you
don't like the name of the guy?
Jackins?
No. Well, that's kind of funny, too.
David Jackins?
What he calls himself?
I'm getting there. Yeah, sorry. So here's the deal. David Jackins, who is an 82-year-old, he's known as King Conquer.
King Conquer.
Oh my
stupid.
gosh.
You just got it? Isn't that dumb in an awesome way?
Yeah.
King Conquer.
It's dumb. I'll give you that. He won the men's title a couple of days ago, but then he lost the overall title to a woman, an American. She became the first American to win this competition. Her name is Kelsey. Lady, you are ruining our reputation as the far cooler country by going over there and competing in such a silly damn event.
Well, at least she took it down.
No.
Well, that's because we dominated everything.
No. Dana, I know you like England. Quit trying to put positive spins on this.
I'm giving credit to the American, not the English.
I'm sorry, what?
I said at least she won the whole competition.
You always try to put positive spins on the English stories because you went there once and you thought it was cool.
Did you think it was cool?
Guy's a friggin' traitor.
Did you ride on a double-decker bus?
No, I did not.
Oh, what?
Then you didn't go to England.
All right. Jackins was accused of using a steel chestnut to break his opponent's regular chestnuts.
Can you imagine being so competitive in something so dumb that you're going to cause controversy in this game the rest of the world hasn't heard of?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's kind of like committing yourself to arguing until your last breath over something really stupid.
Yeah.
And I've found myself guilty of that.
Yeah, good point. You just get so carried away, you're not really seeing the big picture.
At any rate, an investigation is going on to this, and I better get an email when there's a full-on answer. I better.
This text says, I wonder if radio personalities in England, when they talk about this popular Conquer game, have to call it the big game. I know some radio people, when in conjunction with a contest, can't call the Super Bowl anything other than the big game.
Yeah. Oh, sure, the wife-carrying competition. I remember this bit. That's where we're going next, the wife-carrying competition. If you win, you get your wife's weight in beer and 5 times your wife's weight in cash, monies. And these days, it doesn't have to be a man-woman combination. There can be 2 dodes, 2 checks, whatever. You don't even have to be married for this deal. Just show up and carry somebody or another. Loosen up and have some damn fun, I guess. Says here, way over there in godforsaken Maine, more than 30 couples competed recently in the North American Wife Carrying Championships. It's a 278-yard race, and it's an obstacle course. You got to leap over logs. You got to run through the mud, all while carrying your partner like a sack of potatoes. The origin story behind the sport is kind of interesting. It's based on a 19th century Finnish legend involving a man known as Ronikin the Robber. He and his gang were known to storm their way into town and carry away all the women.
Oh, no.
She's my woman now, kind of a thing. And they'd run off into the night. That's the origin story behind the wife carrying.
No good.
No.
All right, so some folks made it all the way through the obstacle course while carrying a partner. Some did not. I think if you drop your wife, they add 5 seconds to your time, or if your pants fall down, they add whatever.
That's embarrassing.
Most of the participants, is how they say it, use a technique in which the wife is carried like a backpack, or like a piggyback ride. So it's like a piggyback ride, but the gal is upside down, so her face is knocking up against her husband's ass for 278 yards. I guess that folks who have experience in the wife carrying competition, they look at that as easier. I know I'm too old for this, and so is my friggin' wife. But I gotta say though, Josh, you ever thought about the wife carrying competition? You ever thought about competing?
No.
Here's the thing: we're already carrying our wives financially. We might as well literally carry them around town at this point, right, Josh?
God, man.
What?
You want a Wisconsin couple to win something. You throw win your weight in beer at the end of that, and you're going to get somebody that's real motivation right there.
Yeah, they don't even want the money.
A couple from Wisconsin won the event, and it's their third consecutive wife-carrying title. Justine and Caleb Rosler is my guess. Rosler. They ran... Did they really run 278 yards in 1 minute and 4 seconds?
Oh.
Gross. That sounds like a lot of work.
That's really fast. Well, yeah, the whole thing sounds like a lot of work. You got to jump through hoops. You got to jump over logs. You got to run through the mud. You got to this, that.
It's not what I was picturing. I expected it to be kind of like, I don't know, maybe like the length of a room. not this extra.
3 years in a row, this couple from Wisconsin has won the damn thing. All right. And wrapping up this round of conversation on out-of-the-ordinary contests, let me dump this one on you. Japan has a daydreaming competition. I'm a daydream believer.
Oh, that's a good tune.
Misshaving razor's cold and it stings. I love you, Davy Jones.
What a stud he was.
What year what band the Monkees? What year? 1967. Stud, without question. My very first idol is Davy Jones.
That's a good one to have.
I miss him every day. All right, Japan has a daydreaming competition. They call it the Space Out competition. It took place a few days ago in Japan. It says here people in the United States have discovered this now, and look for some of these to pop up in your neighborhood, I guess. That's included in the story. Is we Americans have now discovered this competition, and we're going to go with it. We're going to claim it as our own. So competitors, if you want in on this, all you have to do is sit or lie down for 90 minutes.
Between the two, I'll always choose lie down.
Yes.
Always.
A buddy of mine, God rest his soul, just like Davy Jones, he's gone on to, what do they call it in the business, Josh? The great beyond. He had a slogan when he was alive. He said, why stand up when you can sit down, and why sit down when you can lie down?
I live by those words.
I think that might get, you might lose the contest if you lay down, because if you fall asleep, I imagine you're out.
Well, you can fall asleep sitting on a chair. I mean,
the pictures I saw, there was people sitting down, there were people lying down. You cannot fall asleep. Laughing will get you disqualified. Talking gets you disqualified. And heart rates are checked during the 90 minutes of competitive daydreaming. So you just have to rest yourself in whatever way you choose, straight-faced, space out as best you can. Whoever is the most, the way it sounds to me, whoever is the most unresponsive to anything and everything, you lay yourself out, you stare at the ceiling, and whoever is closest to sleep without sleeping or the closest to death without dying wins.
Who do you think, if we had to send someone from the show here to represent 93X, who would be the strongest competitor in daydreaming, you think?
I don't like any of our chances because Wapple and Ashley have proved that they have the ability to fall asleep on air.
Oh, that's true. The falling asleep thing. That ties in with daydreaming.
It does, but I think they would too easily fall asleep. Dana, I don't know. Dana says he has trouble falling asleep.
I do.
Oh, yeah. Yup, Dana, you'd be
And I don't think I'd be able to keep a straight face. If I'm sitting in a room with people and we're supposed to be daydreaming, I would just start laughing.
I guess, Josh, you don't nap, right? Most days, right?
I've been better about it.
Oh,
definitely.
okay. Good. Finally.
But it's more than just staying awake, as I mentioned. You can't laugh, you can't talk.
Yep. You're just in your own head.
Do you think that, Josh, maybe your anxieties or a feeling of being watched or whatever would be too much for you, and you would fold by saying, okay, I can't do this, everyone's looking at me?
Well, actually, now that we're sitting here thinking about it, maybe I would be the guy. I was thinking it would be Ashley, because there's times like maybe 2 seconds after someone said something, Ashley said the exact same thing, and I think that's because she was daydreaming. right? So
Right.
I developed something my dad had, which was the ability to tune out when there's a ton going on, and I don't want to deal with it. Like my dad, I could say, Dad. I'd have to yell to get his attention, and then he'd yell back, wondering why I'm yelling at him.
Older guys have that ability to tune things out.
He'd just sit there, read the paper.
They find a happy place.
And racing thoughts, so that'll take some time. I got that.
Maybe you're the guy.
Maybe I would be I was thinking I wouldn't be the guy.
I fall asleep so easily during the day. Here's my thing. If, in fact, the rest of you are sick and you send me to the daydreaming competition in Japan. If it's a daytime competition, I have no chance. I fall asleep so easily during the day. If it's at night, I can stay awake all night. I'm a night person. Laughing, I probably wouldn't laugh because I've come all the way to Japan and look at what I'm doing. Talking, I can shut my yapper.
See, I wonder if Josh would just get so awkward that he'd have to start talking.
That's what I just said a couple minutes ago.
Oh, daydream. You're the guy, Waffle.
I won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you missed what
Nick said essentially those exact same words.
Thank you for listening. Ashley and Wapple, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate how tuned in you are.
Yeah, there are times the show can be somewhat entertaining. You should check it out.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Sends one high and deep to center field. Did he get it? He got it! It's a two-run home run! Aaron Judge finally connects his first home run of this postseason.
I know we have to find cute sports audio for our intros, but whose decision was it to put Aaron Judge's friggin' home run in there?
Well, I'll say it was a group effort. We were looking for something for 7, and here was our choices. Aaron Rodgers stuff, or I had asked Dana, I'm like, we got to come up with something for 7. Was there anything from baseball last night?
You could have done the woo-off or something.
Anything would have been better than that.
Anything would have been better than that. I saw a bunch of articles. Aaron Judge hit his first postseason home run. Who cares? I'm not falling down and touching myself over anything New York Yankees related. Next time, woo-off. Are we in agreement?
Fine by me. Less work, the better.
The American League Championship Series has really sucked eggs so far. The Yankees won again last night. Game 3 of the NLCS begins at 7 o'clock tonight with the Dodgers and the Metropolitans. The Pigs got a win in St. Louis last night, and their goaltender scored a goal. We're going to get into that here in about a half hour when those other clowns show up. The Lynx and the Liberties play Game 3 of the WNBA Finals tonight here in town, 7 o'clock on ESPN, if you're not going down to the game. And earlier, we were talking about a lady with 2 vaginas. Fascinating stuff. And I was wondering back to the old days when I used to go through a lot of Hustler magazines. When we were in our, mid-20s, young single dudes living together, we had a lot of dirty magazines around the house. One of them was Hustler. And I remember in the back pages, they would advertise their porno movies. Watch this movie with Victoria Paris. Watch this movie with, what were some of those? Of course, Nina Hartley, and who were some of the mid-90s gals? Anyway, and there was also, they always put an ad in the back advertising the movies of this dude who appeared to have 2 functioning penises. And so earlier on this morning, I got on the microphone and I said, was that real? Anyone who used to look at Hustler magazines back in the day, do you remember seeing that ad, and was that real? I always thought it had to have been some kind of special effects trick. Well, I've received 2 text messages. I've received quite a few text messages, but 2 that had definitive answers. One listener says it was a porn actor named Jean-Claude Van Dong who was hauling around too. And then I got this text. They say, look up a guy that calls himself Double D Dude. The D, of course, standing for. Listener says he wrote a book called Double Header, My Life with 2 Penises.
If there's no pictures, I'm not checking it out from the library.
Appreciate all the help. That's great. Josh's News is coming up next.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
Named one of the best personal finance podcasts, The Stacking Benjamin Show with Joe and his friends makes financial literacy fun.
I thought I can just keep spending money, however, do this back of the envelope math if I just cover it by making more money. The three words that make me groan the loudest that broke people say is, I deserve it. I was saying it all the time. Well, I deserve a night out. I don't have any money, but I'll take my last dollars and do a night at a restaurant.
Find out more by searching the Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
Sad to see, it's really sad to see stuff like this happening.
Well, yesterday I think I was the closest I've ever had or been to a heart attack since I lost a foot race to a 9-year-old about 3 years ago.
What the hell happened yesterday?
One of my all-time favorite guitar players, guitar legend Jake E. Lee, best known for his work with Ozzy Osbourne, he had to be hospitalized after a shooting in Las Vegas. A statement said Jake was shot multiple times around 2:40 a.m. yesterday morning while walking his dog. By the grace of God, no major organs were hit. He's fully responsive and expected to make a full recovery, his manager said.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, just a total random things, police say. Police said that they don't believe he was targeted. They called it a, quote, completely random street shooting. Thankfully, he's expected to make a full recovery.
They don't believe he was targeted.
No.
The Ultimate Sin sucked.
That was an incredible album. That'd be crazy if you said that.
That album sucks.
It does not at all. You're nuts. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
That
was an instant reaction. I shouldn't have said that.
I've been there. Sometimes I spit things out and I regret it later. He's doing okay. He's Jake E. Lee. How old of a man is he now?
I think 67.
Now, I wonder if you even remember this. One of your other favorite guitar players was shot on the street a number of years ago, and he survived too. Bruce Kulick.
That's right. Bruce Kulick didn't he?
Yeah, if you can look that up. I think he was walking down the street in L.A. with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, and just some random L.A. gun violence cut loose, and Bruce Kulick caught a couple bullets in his ass neck or something like that.
Yeah, October 16th, 2003.
Was he walking around with Nikki Sixx?
It doesn't say that, but he was in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, so he could have been.
The hell's going on, Cubby?
It's dangerous to be a...
You didn't really like the Ultimate Sin record,
I liked everything Jake E. Lee did.
Oh.
Yeah, all his weird tunings, and I loved it.
Oh, here we go. Kulick was playing at the Rainbow Bar in Hollywood, and he was performing with Vince Neil, and then he walked out and he got shot.
Nicky might have been there then. Word, he was playing with Vince Neil. Man, it must have been hard up for money.
Yeah.
Who the hell signs up to play with Vince Neil unless you have to?
It's dangerous to be an Ozzy guitar player, isn't it? Man.
Yeah.
In less violent Ozzy Osbourne-related news, in an interview with Rolling Stone, Van Halen drummer Alex Van Halen said the band approached Ozzy to sing for them in 2001 when Gary Cherone left. Alex said they were deep in the process of recruiting him, and they were about to do it, but the MTV show The Osbournes launched, so that killed that deal.
Is that right?
Alex also said they were sold on Chris Cornell as a possible singer, but he passed away in 2017 before they could get that going.
I remember Eddie wanted Patti Smith from...
is it Pretenders?
No, that was... I got the song on the tip of my tongue. I am the warrior, 'cause I am the warrior, and this and that is this. If you survive,
Scandal.
Scandal.
Yep.
I think I got the right lady, right?
I think that was her, yeah.
Yeah. Not the one from the Pretenders, oh my God.
Yeet or be yeeted, Jesus wants me to stop liking good guitar players. I'm putting them in danger. Yeah, one of my first guitar heroes, Randy Rhoads. He passed, obviously.
I know a guy wrote a book report on Randy Rhoads back in school.
I did, 7th grade. My son's a 7th grader. He's never done anything that cool as the book report I wrote on Randy Rhoads.
Right.
In dog-related news closer to home, for about a year now, neighbors in St. Paul's Frogtown area have been dealing with a serious problem. Cats keep turning up dead, and people are blaming a couple of violent dogs that roamed the neighborhood after dark.
Dude.
They're everywhere. They cross highways, busy streets. Nothing stops them, one resident said.
They got the taste for kitty.
Yeah, they love them. People have tons of videos and pictures. They've made complaints, but said so far nothing's happened.
Just like a reoccurring thing that they go out at night and people are worried about their children at this point.
Everyone knows these dogs. They've been causing chaos in the neighborhood, the resident explained. They even charged at his car. And now they worry about what they may do to people if confronted. St. Paul Animal Control said they're investigating. Neighbors think the dogs are hanging around spots where food's left out for stray cats, waiting for the chance to attack.
And they believe these are strays, or they belong to somebody or another?
Well, they called them strays in the story. I guess I don't know the official consensus on that one.
Okay. Because, there are quite a few people out there who choose to be dog owners and then do nothing in the line of keeping their dogs in order.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
trying to
The
think of the
worst.
word. There's probably a bigger word in there, but they don't bother to try to keep the dog on their own property. They don't bother to do anything.
And that very well could be. Yeah, they just let them out at night, and whatever happens, happens.
It's crazy.
While St. Paul's Frogtown is dealing with nightly chaos caused by roaming dogs, frogs halfway across the world are making news for their sci-fi-sounding croaks. Deep in the rainforests of Madagascar, scientists discovered 7 new tree frog species that emit noises researchers say sound like some iconic high-pitched effects from Star Trek. We named the frogs after Kirk, Picard, Sisko, Janeway, Archer, Burnham, and Pike, 7 of the most iconic captains from the sci-fi series, one researcher said.
Wow, there have been that many captains on the program Star Trek?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of spin-offs.
Who's the best?
Most of them are very good. It's tough to cheer against Kirk or Picard.
You don't know if you like Kirk or do I like Picard?
Yeah.
What song was that again? White and Nerdy, maybe? Yeah.
They're both so good. But a lot of them I do like. Until recently, the frogs were confused with similar species due to their appearance, but it was their bizarre Star Trek-sounding whistle that helped researchers identify them as unique. That's the one.
Oh, my gosh.
Researchers joked they hope these new species of frogs live long and prosper.
That would be terrifying if you're just walking through the forest and you hear something like that.
See, I'm not even a Star Trek guy by any stretch of the imagination, but if my memory serves me correct, back on the old show from the 60s, when you heard that sound, didn't it mean one of them was getting a phone call?
If that's the way they communicated, wasn't it? I can't remember exactly.
If I remember, the would happen, and then they'd pick up their little phone and say, "Yellow."
Well, the tricorder sounded a little different. But
The what?
The tricorder. That was like the little communication device.
Oh, that's awesome that you know that.
Lawyers who played a looped recording of a woman screaming as part of a civil rights lawsuit against Philadelphia will now have to personally apologize to each and every resident who had to deal with the noise. Judge John F. Murphy condemned the early morning, hour-long test as deeply disturbing and potentially dangerous, criticizing it for lacking foresight and judgment. The lawyers represent a 53-year-old man suing the city and several officers after spending 19 years in prison for assault before his conviction was overturned in 2020. The case hinges on whether the man, who claims he was just trying to assist the victim, could have heard her screams from 2 blocks away, so they tested it out. That would freak me out over and over and over hearing that. Since the loudspeaker used for the test was set up near homes and a daycare center, Judge Murphy said the lawyers displayed a lack of respect for the community and fell short of the ethical standards expected of lawyers. He ordered them to apologize both in person and in writing by the end of the month.
That would suck.
Cranking that thing up.
Going door to door. Sorry.
Yeah, and what
sorry.
A next door app alert or something telling me, hey, the lady's screaming, don't worry about it. The former First Minister of Scotland passed away suddenly while attending a cultural diplomacy forum in one of the strangest deaths I've heard about in a long time.
A cultural diplomacy forum?
Yep. You guys missed it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can stream it on YouTube. He was killed by a condiment. Witnesses say the 69-year-old died as he opened a bottle of ketchup at a luncheon right after his speech. Other attendees described how the former leader suddenly fell back in his chair without any prior signs of distress.
Are you telling me, like, maybe the ketchup lid hit him in the forehead and it killed him or something like that?
No. Apparently, the strain of taking the lid off caused him to have a heart attack.
F me running.
Oh.
A post-mortem examination confirmed the cause of death was a heart attack he suffered while struggling to open the bottle, so in hindsight, perhaps someone else should have helped with the ketchup.
You know, I was hanging out with some old pals last night, and somehow we got on the topic of sudden death. You want to know, I'll tell you a little story that'll scare you. This gal that I have known for many years, I can't remember, a friend of hers, went to the, the doctor, a little bit of an older person, and had to take a stress test. Sometimes you have to go through those, to prove that you're in decent health, right? So this individual passes their stress test at the doctor's office with flying colors. You're good to go. You're fine, the doctor said. The individual goes out to the parking lot, and someone has their car stuck in the snow. This individual helped that person get their car unstuck, and then the sumbitch drops dead. So no more than 10 minutes after passing a stress test, they drop dead of a grabber.
Man, yeah, I wonder if that stress test obviously was a little too much. Have you guys ever had to have one of those?
No.
Yes.
Where they just put you on a treadmill or a bike or something like that?
Yes, because of my past heart issues, I've had to go through one of those, and it cooked me. It cooked me pretty solidly, Cubby.
Yeah, they want your heart rate up there. I had to do that once, too.
That would just piss me off, having you go to the doctor and then work out while you're there. That sounds absolutely awful.
That could be looked at as a two birds, one stone situation, Ashley.
Around 2 a.m. Saturday, 911 got a call about a crash in Everett, Washington. When first responders showed up, they found an SUV almost completely inside a massage parlor. Turns out the driver was drunk when he crashed into the massage parlor, so he's in deep shiatsu, and there won't be a happy ending. Police say the SUV veered off the road, plowing right into the front of the place and barely missing a nearby bus stop. Debris like concrete, wood, massage oils, and glass was scattered everywhere. Crews rescued 2 people trapped inside the SUV, with the driver getting arrested on suspicion of DUI. Luckily, no one inside that building was hurt.
There had to have been one old-timer. In the movies, Josh, you know this to be true. In the movies, there would have been one old-timer who ran out of that place with a towel around his waist.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Looking side to side to make sure no one noticed who he is. You know what I mean?
In times of crisis, some people step up to help. But sometimes, others can't resist taking advantage of chaos for their own selfish gain. Like a 34-year-old Florida man Sunday who tried to steal a generator meant to power one of the county's traffic lights, which was dark due to the hurricane. Workers stopped the man as he attempted to take the generator, but he drove away. So the workers took pictures of him and his license plate. Deputies later found him at a home while he was making dinner. In body cam footage, he claimed he didn't have a name. Or he said there also wasn't a lock on the generator.
I'm sorry, he doesn't have a name?
Didn't have a name.
Oh, my God.
Well, you're free to go, sir. There's nothing we can do.
I don't have a name.
What's your name? Me? I never had one.
That has had to, I bet that's caused prior issues in his life.
Yeah.
He said there was no lock on the generator, so he thought he could just take it. Well, he couldn't. He now faces a charge of grand theft in the 3rd degree during a state of emergency, which carries a harsher penalty than had he stole it at any other time.
What is your name? Well, I'm actually quite embarrassed to have to tell you this, but I don't have one. But I am interested in gaining one day.
Is there any you can think of that don't have multiple warrants? Because what a shame that would be if that was the case. Yeah.
I love that. I wish I could think on my feet like that. Who are you? Nobody. Ain't got a name.
Shrinking Season 2 starts to unfold on Apple TV Plus today with a 2-new-episode premiere. The 2nd season of the hit comedy from Bill Lawrence, Jason Segel, and Brett Goldstein will pick up where Season 1 left off, with a grieving therapist who breaks the rules by telling his clients exactly what he thinks. Harrison Ford there. I love that show.
I do, too. Fantastic.
What's it called?
It's called Shrinking.
Never even heard of it.
I think you'd like it. I don't know.
I don't like Harrison Ford much.
Oh, you don't?
No, I want him to leave us alone.
Boy, I like him.
I want him out of here. Get him out.
He's very good on that show as well. At least in my opinion. Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist Flea, 62.
I'm more of a Flea guy.
Oh, yeah, you love Flea.
Yeah.
He loved his work in Back to the Future, too.
That's a talented gentleman there.
Way more of a Flea guy than I am a Harrison Ford guy.
Flea couldn't play Indiana Jones. Sending some positive vibes to vertically challenged Jesus, getting an MRI today, and then acid reflux Jesus, who's camped out on the crapper for some colonoscopy prep.
Okay, careful if you take that stress test.
Tears on my lubricant Jesus, asked to wish him a happy half birthday just to frustrate Nick. Happy 54th to Mike from Goat Trucking Jesus. Goat Trucking Jesus, I'm not saying that last name because I think you're trying to mess with me. So I'm just going to say Mike. Happy 12th anniversary to I'd Eat Ashley's Skin Tags Jesus and the Smoking Hot Wifey celebrating their anniversary in Nashville. And happy 25th anniversary to PWB Jesus from Baits Her Own Hook, Cleans Her Own Fish Jesus. And that's 93X News.
Get ready, gamers, because here's your latest video game update. November 23rd, 2004. World of Warcraft was released to the world, and that means we're coming up on its 20th birthday. Can you believe the game's almost legal drinking age? To celebrate, the game might be teaming up with Mountain Dew in the very near future. Photos were recently taken down from Reddit showing Game Fuel's citrus blackberry and citrus cherry flavors with images of iconic World of Warcraft characters. Purchasing certain Mountain Dew products will earn players points that can be redeemed on the Mountain Dew Gaming Rewards Marketplace. That's not all the game's done for its birthday. Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 have featured World of Warcraft crossover skins in their games. I can do that. World of Warcraft is also gearing up to release a patch on October 22nd that will reintroduce old raids and dungeons, as well as upgrade the game's iconic Tier 2 raid gear. Yes, me lord. Do you miss handheld game consoles like Game Boy? Do you miss classic video games that Atari has released many years ago? Well, now you can get the best of both worlds. Amazon has opened up pre-orders for the Atari Super Pocket. This bad boy looks exactly like a Game Boy Color and holds 50 classic Atari games like Centipede, Asteroids, Missile Command, and Pong, just to name a few. The Atari Super Pocket is even compatible with the Evercade cartridge. That'll give you over 500 games. Amazon's releasing the Atari Super Pocket on October 22nd. That's it for this week. Listen every single Wednesday for more video game updates.
Randy Shaver.
That is the gentleman who showed me his butthole.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Looking for a goalie goal. Gustafsson scores! Philip Gustafsson mobbed! We've got the goalie goal!
Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pigs got a win in St. Louis last night, and their goaltender, old Phil Gustafsson, scored the only respectable kind of empty net goal. And that's when a goalie does it.
Yeah.
Phil made 27 saves, and he scored a damn goal.
Awesome.
Did you see the highlight, everybody? Did you see how it played out?
It's up on our website if you missed it.
Some schmuck from the St. Louis club put a little shot on Netsky, and Phil knocked her down and said, I'm going to get her done right here, right now.
Yeah.
Pigs won 4-1. Let's see all the stats here on goaltenders scoring a goal. So old Phil is the 15th goalie to do it, but only the 11th where the goalie actually shot the puck into the net. The other empty net goaltender goals in NHL history were one of those situations where the opponent scored an own goal, but it just so happened that the goalie was the last one to play the puck. Do you state of hockey types follow that type of language?
Mm-hmm.
So Phil is in an exclusive group. And it must have been a hell of a lot of fun. It looked like his teammates were having a hell of a lot of fun with it. Ronnie Hextall and Martin Brodeur scored multiple goaltender goals. Hextall, who was completely nuts, had 2, and Martin Brodeur had 3. First Pigs goalie ever to do it, old Phil. And here's what really must have pissed off. There was one member of the Pigs roster who was pissed off by the sight of this, and that's Mark the Animal, Andre Fleury. He's said, I guess, a few times, he's told the media that before he's said and done in the National Hockey League, he wants to score a goal. And then he sits on the bench last night and watches old Phil do it. Not happy. Not a happy guy, I would imagine, this morning.
Maybe if he starts this weekend, he can do it. That'd be pretty sweet. Back-to-back goaltender goals.
I'm not going to. We're going to a casino this weekend, Josh. I'm not betting on that happening.
Yeah, I don't think I will either.
So my question is, and maybe you don't know the answer, has a goalie ever scored when the other goalie was in the net?
That'd be embarrassing.
Would the other goalie just have to retire?
No.
Yeah, the other goalie needs to at least drop down to the minors for a month or two. I don't think so, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think so. It's a great question. I would love to see that. Oh, yeah, like Josh said, the other goalie, just take your gear off and go back to the farm at that point. But that's also pretty cute that Fleury's on the bench watching this happen, and he's thinking, son of a bitch, I've been doing this for 19 years, and I want to get mine. 4-1 the final. They got all different types of goals last night. Ryan Hartman had a power play goal. You had the goaltender score a goal. Someone by the name of Jacob Lauko scored a shorthanded goal. I don't know this kid. Must be new to the roster. The Russian kid had a couple of assists. Did you know the Pigs, right here from the get-go, are on their longest road trip of the season?
I was just looking at their schedule this morning. They're gone for like 3 weeks.
They got the hell out of town, and they're not coming back for quite a poke. This will be their longest road trip of the season. I guess nice to get it out of the way.
They're not back until the 1st, November 1st.
They're at Columbus on Saturday.
I bet they came home. after the game last night for a couple of days.
Oh, yeah?
If they don't play till Saturday.
They don't mind spending that kind of money on airplane rides?
No. From St. Louis to here.
Yeah, they're probably home today till Friday.
They're not traveling by bus?
They are not.
Not likely, no.
That's cute what Phil did last night, though. That's fun.
It looks like Brodeur's the only goalie to have scored on another goalie, but it really doesn't count too much because the other goalie was going to a bench for a penalty call, and then he was coming back to stop it and couldn't get in time.
That doesn't count. It sure as hell does not. Alex Ovechkin last night made an assist or two, and he hit the 700 mark as far as career assists go.
A backhand pulled to the corner by Alexei Protas. Ovechkin back for Protas. He scores!
Okay, there you go. He assisted on a goal or two. He's only the 6th player in NHL history with at least 700 goals and 700 assists in his career. His goal tally is 850 or something at this point. But now he's reached the 700 assist mark. Only 6 players have done it. The others with at least 700 goals and 700 assists: Gretzky, Howe, Portner, Dion, Yager, Esposito.
That's a pretty good group.
Who's your favorite?
Portner for me.
Yeah, me too.
Gretzky.
Well, you're really going out on a limb there, Randy. Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite.
Boy, the American League Championship Series has really sucked eggs so far.
Yeah.
Man, it's really sucked eggs. The Guardians haven't looked terribly sharp at all. It's one thing to go get your nuts kicked in at Yankee Stadium. That happens. Every team has experienced that. But, you kick the ball around, a couple errors. They're leaving runners on base. They're swinging and missing. It looked like last year's, not this year's, but last year's Twins roster, the way they're swinging and missing. I just don't think the Guardians, I don't think the Yankees have gotten the best of the Guardians just yet, and that's a shame.
No, they're going to need to bring it on Game 3 because if they don't win Game 3, it's over, obviously.
Another guy who likes to go out on a limb, Brad Ryder, right there.
The captain of the obvious.
I would say that the Guardians are very disappointed in their pitching so far because Tanner Bybee is one of their better pitchers, and he only lasted just over an inning last night. And because of that, their entire bullpen gets blown up, basically, trying to stay in that game last night. And once we got to the 6th inning and they scored a couple of runs, Judge being one of those with a home run, that was pretty much it. So disappointing for sure. But they get to come. Is it 2-3-2? Is that how
they get 3. Cleveland gets 3 at home now, so they're obviously going to probably need to win all 3 of those, I think, to have a chance. If they win 2, they're still in the series, but then they got to go win 2 at Yankee Stadium. So.
Yeah.
Game 3 is tomorrow night in Cleveland. The Guardians went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position last night, stranded 11 runners. They're 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position in the series. It has not been fun to watch so far.
You know, they actually strung out Garrett Cole last night pretty decently.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't last more than just over 4 innings, but they just couldn't take advantage of the opportunities. He walked 4 guys last night, and they just couldn't do anything with it.
They had the bases loaded, I think, in consecutive innings in the middle of the game. I was kind of keeping an eye on it. They just couldn't get the big hit.
Yeah.
Brad Ryder, you're correct. The Pigs have come home for a few days before they head off to Columbus. And I guess, it sort of makes sense because, what is it today? They played a Tuesday night.
Wednesday.
They played a Tuesday night game. They don't play again until Saturday.
Right.
The NHL schedule is so goofy now. But when did this start happening? If you were the owner of the Man Bear Pigs, I'd say, no, stay in a hotel for a few days. I got to pay for a plane ride for you guys to come back? You know what I'm saying?
3 days in Columbus with nothing to do? I don't think so.
But what I'm saying is, I hear the last couple years, the Pigs complaining about how they don't have any money. And then right now someone's texting in about Suter and Parisi. Yes, I understand all that. But if I was running that operation, I'd say, no, you're not paying for a plane ride back home. Go to a hotel in Columbus.
I think under different circumstances, if that Columbus game was the last game of a road trip, then they probably would. But since they've got 2 more weeks with road games, you got to get them home for a few days.
Randy Shaver, if this was your team, you'd leave them out on the road, wouldn't you?
No, I would not, because you're playing in St. Louis. You're a 45-hour
plane ride.
That's just nothing.
You're home before midnight.
It's nothing.
I don't know. I think save a little money.
Well, you know what? Why don't you bark at Marcus about it and see what he has to say about it?
Yeah, ask him if he'd rather come home or spend 3 days in Columbus.
Exactly.
He did say that he really enjoys Columbus.
I do, but not for that long with nothing to do.
Maybe he doesn't like his family very much.
Oh, that's not the case.
Come on.
I'm just saying maybe. Then
now, if Saturday's game was in Vegas, then you might have the team thinking, okay, well, let's go there and hang out for a few days.
I'm saying is if it was my hockey club and I'm paying for the plane rides, those guys are staying at a Super 8. and you hang around, drink some beer, play cards until Saturday, and you play Columbus. And then I got to pay for a plane ride for you guys to,
to see you sell that to free agents. Hey, we stay at the Super 8 everywhere we go.
That's right.
Game 3 of the National League Championship Series begins at 7 o'clock tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Metropolitans, they're tied at 1 win apiece. Don't you know?
It's Luis Severino going tonight for New York. He's really kind of their best pitcher. So
all right,
this will be their chance to take that lead in that series.
Luis Severino. It's a musical name, don't you think, Josh? Would you define that as a musical name? All right, there's plenty of football to talk about, and I know you guys like to whack it to the NFL, so we might as well get to it.
Well, the Vikings made a little bit of news yesterday.
They did.
Yeah, trading back for Cam Akers, which I guess kind of sends a signal that Aaron Jones may not be as healthy as we thought he might be coming off the bye week. Maybe it's just insurance policy. We don't know, but Jones hurt his hip, and we haven't really heard a lot from the Vikings about his recovery for that. So I think it's a little concerning that you went out and made a trade because maybe you feel like he's not going to be quite healthy enough coming back.
It's kind of funny it's a dude that was just here last year.
Yeah, but they know him, though.
Yeah,
I understand the bonus.
And he actually played against him a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
because the Texans played here a few weeks ago, and he started and played. He's actually played well for the Texans when Joe Mixon went out, and now that Mixon's back, they probably felt he was a little expendable.
Yeah, they're familiar with the guy, and I understand all that. And he proved that he can cut it last year. It's just kind of funny. We need a running back. Well, who was that dude from last year? Oh yeah, give him a phone call. Cam Akers is back with the Vikings.
Yep.
The Las Vegas.
That's not the biggest trade, though.
Well, no, of course not. The Las Vegas Raiders upped and traded for wide receiver Devontae Adams to the New York Jets. Is that the one you're referencing?
That and the Cooper trade to the Bills. But yeah, I mean, Adams reuniting with Aaron Gasbag, so it's opportunity for the Jets are claiming they're going to try and save their season by doing this deal. I don't see how this saves their season. I just don't. I don't think.
Well, it's the same thing that Jets fans are saying. A lot of Jets fans are saying, "Yeah, this is not going to make much of a difference."
Yeah, trading for Adams when you've got a 40-year-old quarterback and a 32-year-old receiver or whatever they are, that doesn't sound like a chance to save your season. So.
I thought the Jets fans would be more excited about it, but you're right. They had some polls where most Jets fans, it was like 65% of Jets fans said, "Yeah, this is not going to do a thing."
Yeah, they would have.
Their only saving grace, excuse me, a little bit is that the Dolphins, probably aren't going to be as good as in that division as people thought, and so maybe they see an opportunity. I mean, the Bills will probably win that division, but still, they're only 2 games back of the Bills, so maybe they feel like they still got a chance.
Yeah, that's really their only shot because New England's not going to do anything. Tua's still out with Miami and likely won't play for a while yet. The Bills make a trade. They pick up Amari Cooper because they know their receiving core isn't as strong as it needs to be. And I'm sure Josh Allen was barking that he needs a little bit of help there. The rookie, Keon, and I can't think of his last name, has not kind of panned out the way they thought he would, at least out of the gates anyway. So you're right. The Jets probably look at the division and say, okay, we do have a chance here, but they probably have to win the division. I'm not sure that they're strong enough to be a 10-7, 9-6 or 9-8 wild card team. I just don't know if they'll get there.
We've already talked way too much about the New York Jets. The other trade you were talking about, Amari Cooper traded to the Buffalo Bills from the Cleveland Browns. Amari Cooper, I kind of thought he was a thing of the past.
No, he's
on a couple of my teams. He's actually not bad. I like this trade.
Appreciate the fantasy football reference, Brad.
Yeah.
I got a very excited text from our boy Dana yesterday. He was happy about it.
I was pretty fired up about this trade. It's great for the Bills.
If I'm a Bills fan, I'm excited. If I'm a Browns fan, that sends a signal that they are in trouble.
They are 1-5.
I got a buddy who's from Cleveland, and he's fine with them just selling off all their parts for picks right now.
Well, I mean, if they keep hitching their wagon to Watson at quarterback, they're done. They're done. The guy's cooked. He's not very good.
Yeah, but how much money he just got.
That trade has just decimated that team.
It was so bad.
It's decimated that team.
I just read an article a day or two ago, and the title was, "It's Time for the Browns to Give Up on Deshaun Watson."
Yeah.
There are a number of statistics here. I'm not going to bore you with all the numbers, but according to these psychos that follow every single solitary minute of the National Football League, they did all the arithmetic, like I did when I was discussing a plane ride home for the pigs or 3 days in a motel. They did all this arithmetic, and they say that Deshaun Watson is off to the worst start this year in modern league history. They went through... They studied the statistics of 566 different quarterbacks and their production through 6 weeks of a regular season. Since they went all the way back to 2007, some of them went all the way back to 2000, and they say, if you add it all up, Deshaun Watson is off to the worst start in modern league history.
Yeah.
The head coach there, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
He says he still thinks Deshaun Watson gives them the best chance to win.
I think Stefanski's hands are tied.
Oh yes.
This is a ownership / general manager decision because they basically blew up their team in order to bring him there under controversy because of his off the field issues.
Right.
And I think Kevin Stefanski's a lot smarter than this. He knows that this is a train wreck. And what are you going to do?
Unfortunately, it might cost him his job because that's how these things
very
go.
Much, yeah.
They traded Joe Flacco. They had a perfectly good 55-year-old quarterback to come in and save the day. They traded Joe Flacco.
You know who their backup is, don't you?
I love Jameson Winston.
Well,
isn't that the correct answer?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Jameson Winston?
He throws a few interceptions.
Not since he got LASIK.
Yeah, he's a different guy now.
Don't you follow the National Football League? He got LASIK.
I do, but they paid an awful lot of money to the guy in front of him. So
I love Jameson Winston. He's a funny guy. He has some laughs. He got LASIK. He knows which team to throw to now. I saw a great picture of Johnny Manziel on the internet yesterday. He's smiling that big $1 million smile of his, and it says Johnny Manziel is somewhere happy right now knowing he's no longer the worst quarterback decision in Cleveland Browns history. Now, speaking of all this, go ahead, Randy.
I was just going to say, I'm looking at some numbers here. Watson's been sacked 31 times already this year. Is that correct?
Oh, my God.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Insane.
So maybe it's not him. It's the offensive line.
It looks like he's been sacked 31 times.
Average of 5 a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the offensive line. Citing Jesus says not Randy. What's his name again? Watson?
Deshaun.
Deshaun. He just needs a couple more massages. He'll be good to go.
Well, yeah, if he's getting sacked that many times.
Watson! Speaking of all this quarterback stuff, let me ask you boys. Are we in the middle of one of the worst lineups for starting quarterbacks ever? What I mean by that is when you look at all the quarterbacks currently getting playing time in the NFL, is this the worst lineup ever? I saw a couple
worst lineup. Okay.
I saw a couple write-ups on this, and let me just roll you through these current quarterbacks who are getting playing time, and is this the worst collection we've ever seen?
Okay.
The kid that plays for the Carolina Panthers, can't think of his name.
You're talking about
he's not playing
Bryce
anymore.
Young.
You know what I mean. Yeah, the
Bryce
kid,
Young.
Bryce Young.
Yes.
Right, he was replaced by the pink crayon.
Yep.
Okay. Will Levis from the Tennessee Titans.
Will Levis, yeah.
People pick on him on the internet. Have you noticed that?
They're 1-4, so there's a reason to pick on him.
They said last game all he did was he only threw for 95 yards, and then he almost killed that kid on the sideline, right? The guy's legs fell off. Okay. We mentioned Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Dan Jones of the New York Giants.
Actually, he's played a lot better.
He's terrible.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Drake May, is he not the starting quarterback for the Patriots?
He will be this week.
Mm-hmm.
Who was playing there last week?
It's been Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, add him to the list. Who's the Denver Broncos quarterback?
Nobody knows.
That's Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. He's actually been okay.
Yep.
All right. Drake Prescott? What's his name? Dak Prescott.
Yeah, you could put him in that group. Yeah.
We're just getting started, okay? The long-haired kid that plays for Jacksonville.
Trevor Lawrence,
He is done after this year. He's done after this year.
Really? You think
no quarterback has
he's
ever
not had
done.
a good year, but
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure
he'll be a
he's done.
starting quarterback. He'll be a backup.
He'll be a starting quarterback somewhere else.
I don't know about
He'll play for 20 more years. Aiden O'Connell, whoever that is. Who's Aiden O'Connell?
Vegas Raiders.
Gardner Minshew.
He's with the Vegas Raiders.
Anthony Richardson.
Well, he's hurt.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that about him.
But he played a couple games this year.
Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
All right, I heard they were less than okay.
They're 3-3, so
he's hurt.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll lay off Anthony Richardson. But I read some people in Indianapolis are starting to call him Pooh. It's not a reference to the Minnesota Timberwolves' original point guard.
You cannot do that.
They're calling him Pooh Richardson.
No, they cannot. There's only one Pooh Richardson.
Who is Tyler Huntley? He's the guy playing in Miami now that Tua's hurt, right?
That's correct.
And then they also mentioned Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So the question is this the worst collection of quarterbacks we've ever seen?
I would say you're right there. Now, I don't disagree. I don't agree with the Steelers because I think Justin Fields has been very good this year.
Okay.
Russell Wilson hasn't played. So
Unlimited.
I think, the Steelers are 4-2, and Justin Fields has done a pretty nice job.
All right.
In doing some things.
I
But
also
you're
think-
right. No, if you look overall,
There's some garbage in
Yeah,
there.
I also think a
you've
lot
got
of these
some
guys
points.
you mentioned are like really young guys.
Yeah.
And if a year ago you would have put Sam Darnold in that category.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't necessarily, you can in some cases say maybe the quarterback is garbage, but some of these systems are not giving them the opportunity to
I was
going to
make the same point, Brad Ryder. That's a solid point. A lot of these guys are so terribly young, and they're playing simply based on their potential.
Because, like I said,
it's a work in progress.
Years ago, you'd have put Sam Darnold right smack dab in that category.
Yes, you would have.
Yeah, but a guy like Trevor Lawrence, I don't put him in that category. He's played enough football. He's just not very good right now. Daniel Jones, same way. He's just not very good right now.
There you go. There you are. And
I
there
like that. That was good. That was a really good topic.
Randy Shaver, you are a sweetheart. That's what you are. A couple people texted in also and said Kyler Murray hasn't exactly been wonderful either.
I disagree.
He's playing for the Arizona. Yes, what about him?
I think he's been decent.
I disagree. I think Murray, he lost his best receiver early in the game this last week, and so that didn't help him at all. I watched him play this weekend. The guy can still play. He's really good.
I'm just throwing him in there because listeners texted in Kyler Murray, Kyler, whatever they say. I really like watching him play. He's entertaining as hell. I love how he can run around like he's just. He's fun to watch.
It's not his fault when his team gives up 24 points in the first quarter and a half against the Packers on Saturday. On Sunday.
No kid. Yeah,
Kyler Murray is fun to watch. The best quarterback in the league is that kid that plays for the Commodores.
Jaden Daniels.
There's an argument there.
I'm so drawn to him. I should have some kind of. He should have a restraining order against me. And all the Commodores should have a.
Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson fans would argue. And
I couldn't possibly care less about Patrick Mahomes fans. Josh Allen is garbage. Patrick Mahomes, I'm tired of him. I do like I do like Lamar Jackson.
I will tell you who's playing decently right now is Kirk O'Chains, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk O'Chains.
Whatever.
It's a good way to get me to exclude myself from the conversation.
4-2.
Bring
Falcons.
up that bastard.
Kirko's got him going.
You know what's going to happen, right? I don't want to talk about Kirk Cousins. I don't, and I hate that you're still using that stupid nickname. But you know what's going to happen. Everyone should know by now what is going to happen and how the Vikings season is going to end. The Atlanta Falcons are going to beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Falcons are going to go to the Super Bowl.
The Atlanta Falcons are going to defeat the Vikings in the playoffs.
Kirk Cousins is going to be the Super Bowl MVP.
I'm with Brad Ryder. That's exactly what's going to happen.
No, it's not.
And be prepared to suck on it. Be prepared to suck that up, because that is what's going to happen. You heard it from me and Brad Ryder first.
No way.
The Vikings play the Falcons in the Super Bowl. There was no chance the Vikings win that game.
They can't
I meant playoffs. Keep it in your pants. If they play in the playoffs, there's no way the Vikings win that game.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of quarterbacks...
They could just replay the 98 championship game and have our field goal kicker miss a field goal.
It wasn't the field goal kicker's fault. See, now we got to be enemies again.
Have Cousins drive him down the field and score the tying touchdown and win in overtime.
Tom Brady is now an NFL Dorner.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Tom Brady is now an NFL owner,
and that causes
sort of.
all sorts of issues for him as a broadcaster.
You know, I forgot all about his broadcasting gig. I haven't seen him do it yet.
I gotta let me find it because I wanted to save it and mention it this morning, and it'll take me. Here it is.
Oh.
Here's his restrictions. He's not permitted to be in another team's facility. Not permitted to witness practice.
Oh.
Not permitted to attend broadcast production meetings, either in person or virtual.
He's not getting an exception because he's Tom Brady?
No. Prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials and other clubs, subject to the NFL's gambling policy, subject to the NFL's anti-tampering policy. There's no way he can do his job effectively as a broadcaster and have those restrictions on him.
Well, what the hell did he do? Why did he agree to buy a portion of the Las Vegas Raiders?
You got me.
I don't know.
But I think he's
You're sure that he's not going to get a pass on this because he's Tom Brady?
Not being able to go to those production meetings is a huge deal. I mean, people might not think it is, but that's where those broadcasters and color guys find out all the information when they meet with head coaches and they meet with players before the game that week. I mean,
never occurred to me. That's really interesting.
Yeah. He's been approved too, so it's like it starts like right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Fox is going to do because that really limits him a lot, and I'm sure this is not a surprise to Fox. They knew all this was coming because he's wanted to be an owner for a while. So I don't know what they're going to do, honestly.
I had no idea that he was signing up for such a mess. I had no idea.
Well,
I had forgotten that he was a broadcaster. I still haven't seen him do that yet.
But Nick, it's not a mess for him because this is really what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a owner or part of an ownership group, and he's with Mark Davis and the Raiders.
Well, yeah, but if everything you're saying is true, that sounds like a real mess to me.
Well, it's a mess only on the broadcast side for him and Fox to decide what to do. He'll just leave Fox.
So you think he'll just quit his gig?
Sure. Why?
But he just started.
But what difference does it make? He wanted to be an owner. That's what he wanted to be.
So you think he's just going to call Fox today and say, "Yeah, I quit. I'm going to go be an owner"?
Well, he might have a clause. Who knows? He might have a clause in his contract that allows him out at this point. You know what I mean? Where he can get out, or Fox can get out. Maybe Fox has got a clause in his contract that says if you become an owner, you're gone. We can cut the cord.
So really, both of you think after all this noise about him becoming a broadcaster, he worked at it, he practiced. After all this, now that he's part owner of the Raiders, he's just going to say bye?
It might be.
Remember that he signed with Fox a year before he was supposed to start. So he signed with Fox probably either not knowing or knowing that he would attempt to become an owner, and that the two of those two situations at some point might collide. But there was a chance he wouldn't be voted in as an owner. There's a chance that wouldn't happen, or couldn't get his group together,
That's
or whatever
so funny.
it is. So,
all right, did anyone even watch him broadcast?
Yes.
How was he, Josh?
I watched the first one, and kind of like everything Randy said, he really wasn't involved as much as you would have expected. He sounded a little nervous.
Much better now, though.
That's
you
what
watch
I've read.
him now,
So I've
read that he's figured it out.
I should expect him to quit that job any day now, you're saying?
Well, I think that there's a clear conflict now. And I don't know how you get around those rules. I just don't.
I think we're maybe too far into the season to maybe have it done this year, but if he's not back next year, it wouldn't surprise me.
But Brad, how can he do his job if
that's what I mean. I mean,
if you can't criticize the
I know.
team.
I know it's going to be awkward and kind of weird. And he's, like I said, the one thing out of all the things that you listed there, to me, having seen these things, behind the curtain, if he can't go to those production meetings and meet with the head coaches and the players on Friday and Saturday before the game on Sunday, that's where those announcers get like 80% of the stuff they talk about.
That's fascinating stuff there.
Here's the other part.
Oh, God, the other part.
No, but here's the other part. He's an owner with the Raiders. He needs to be where the Raiders are. Yeah. And so you can't be in the broadcast booth.
Jiminy Christmas.
You can't be in the broadcast booth on a Sunday doing a Bears-Giants game and then also be the owner of the Raiders. So he's got to give up the broadcast part.
I had no idea.
An owner of the Raiders.
I had no idea. By the way, back to Kyler Murray, the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. I love this text message. A listener says, Kyler Murray looks like a toddler who stole his parents' cell phone when he runs. He does have a childlike gait when he runs, and it's fun to watch. I've told you this before. My old pal, Pistol Pete from across the street. Pistol Pete was a good athlete and a con man and a derelict. But when I see Kyler Murray run, it looks exactly like Pistol Pete when we were kids, and it gives me a good feeling. All right. The new NFL kickoff gimmick that they've been working out this year, that they stole from the XFL. By the way, you guys know that already. They stole that gimmick from the XFL. The NFL has reported only one concussion on kickoffs so far this season. And interestingly enough, the one concussion was actually a fan watching at home who was wearing an undersized beer helmet.
You got to get a fitted one.
It started with a slight headache, and a doctor confirmed later that it was a concussion. Only one concussion on kickoff so far this season. 8 were suffered during kickoffs last season. Wow. So the whole routine was to try to cut down on injuries, because we always have to be cutting down on injuries and making sure that no one ever gets hurt doing anything related to football for the rest of time. So it's working so far. Crooked NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell recently said on the NFL Network that the NFL would maybe make a few more changes to the kickoff going forward, including potentially moving the touchback line or the touchback spot to the 35-yard line. Why are we giving a club so much space there? Anybody know?
No idea.
Trying to increase the number of returns, perhaps?
I guess.
Yeah.
All right. I've gotten used to the new kickoff thing. I mean, not that I'm, on the edge of my seat, but it doesn't aggravate me maybe as much as I thought it would. Here's a great idea. Here's a rule change that I am in favor of. I don't like a lot of changes. I don't. But this one sounds like friggin' fun. Don't they have another one of those silly games in England again this weekend?
They do. Jacksonville stayed there.
What do you mean they stayed there?
They were there last week, and they stayed there for this week.
Oh, maybe that's where this idea came from. The Jacksonville Jaguars had to play back-to-back games in England?
Yeah, they actually do like playing there. They're very popular.
That was the most powerful guttural I've ever heard in my life.
Whose neck was that?
I don't know. The Jacksonville Jaguars played last Sunday in England, and now they're doing it again.
Well, that is correct.
That's because the owner owns the Hotspurs over there. He owns that stadium, too.
Was it like a chicken joint or something?
That sounds delicious. Tottenham Hotspurs.
The what?
The Tottenham Hotspurs, the soccer team.
Tottenham Hotspurs?
Yeah. He owns that team, too, as well as Jacksonville, so that's why they're always playing there.
And I know that there's a lot of disagreement here about this, but if there ever were to be a team to move over there, that would probably be the team.
Mm-hmm.
The Tottenham Hotspurs. I've never heard that said out loud in my life. Okay, well, maybe the fact that I did not know that the Jaguars played there last Sunday. I knew that they were going to play in
I think they
England.
did that last year, too.
Yeah, they did.
I was unaware of this, but all of that information must be what spurred this rule change idea. Says here, the NFL teams that go play in London, if you lose, you have to stay there. You have to win your way back to America.
Awesome.
You have to win your way back to the United States of America.
Oh, I love that.
Well, that's one way to get rid of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's a great friggin' idea. Imagine a really bad ball club goes there. Like, I guess, the current edition of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not good. Who's the worst team in the NFL right now? Imagine it's 10, 12 weeks and they're still stuck in London.
I would say Jacksonville.
Okay. And they
Carolina, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, the hotel room's just a mess, and their wives and girlfriends are furious, and their kids are failing out of school. And that would just be beautiful. They can't shave or shower until they come home. Maybe add that in there, too. They just look like dog feces going out there. All I want to do is go home, but we can't win a game.
The Panthers, Browns, Jacksonville, Patriots are all at 1-5. And then the Rams are sitting there at 1-4. They play this week.
I love that. Did the Rams play this week in England? You're saying?
No, they're 1-4 now.
Yeah.
So they had a bye.
I love this idea. That would add some friggin' fun. And the fan, and let's say you're dorky enough to travel to watch your team. You also can't come home until the team wins. That's awesome, Josh.
That's a pretty funny idea. They said, like in soccer, Dana, you'd be the guy. Don't they? If you lose a certain amount of games, they send you basically to a different division or league or something like that?
The bottom 3 teams get relegated in each league to essentially the minor leagues.
Oh, that's...
They should do that for the NFL. That'd be awesome.
They're all of a sudden UFL teams?
Yeah. Well, it's like then the bad teams would have something to play for at the end of the year so they don't get relegated.
A couple listeners have texted in. This is important now. They're saying the guy that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, as Randy would say, the Jaguars, he doesn't own the Tottenham Hot Wings. What did you say?
Hotspurs?
He doesn't own the Tottenham Hotspurs. He owns Fulham.
Oh. Well, he still owns a team in London.
Fulham.
Yeah, but he also owns AEW, too. AEW.
Same guy?
Yeah, that's his name.
Khan!
Dane Khan.
Shahid Khan?
All right, did you guys know this now? What does this say? NFL players are on better behavior than they used to be, is basically what this article has to say. Following the domestic violence case involving former Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice back in 20+14, that was a nasty story.
Yes, it was.
The NFL implemented some new procedures to handle player arrests, punishments, fines, and whatnot were added. And I guess the policies have paid off. NFL player arrests for all types of offenses have gone down by half since the Ray Rice case. According to some figures, there were 74 player arrests in 2011, 68 in 2014, but that number was down to 38 last season. So there are still a lot of domestic violence things happening, but the bottom line is it's working, but there's still room for improvement.
Sure.
NFL players are keeping themselves out of trouble a little better than they used to. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different kind of people in the National Football League, just like any industry. Some of them are idiots. You add in youth and monies and drugs and alcohol and foxy ladies everywhere, and things are going to go sideways, just like any industry. The foxy ladies is what would get me in trouble.
It's gotten you in trouble. Definitely has.
Yeah,
Well, the Vikings got through the bye week unscathed.
He ain't lying. Vikings got through the bye week. What'd you say, Josh?
I said unscathed.
Well, yeah, true.
Anybody getting in trouble?
So far, so good. You're right.
Yeah.
Nobody, at least if we haven't heard anything yet.
Right.
Who was threatened?
Your life was threatened. You had an angry mom email you bizarrely. You've had some stuff.
I did have a mom email me once.
What was that about?
She threatened to cut it off, Randy.
Ooh.
What was that about? I'm not getting into that friggin' story. I'm surprised you don't remember. I've told you, I'm not getting into that. That was an absolute nightmare. I'll just give you the gist. You roll out of bed with a lady. Under 2 hours later, you get an email from her mother.
Ooh.
I was lucky enough to sit here while you read that email.
I wish I could have been there.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy.
There was things you didn't know. That's beyond your control.
There were things that I did not know.
Oh, boy.
Man.
I don't think we'll speculate. I think we know.
From her mother. You son of a bitch bastard. It was that kind of a thing.
I don't have that type of relationship with my mom where I have an illicit evening and I call her immediately to tell her about it.
You know what, Cubby? I guess I was just that damn good.
I must have been. I was tell someone.
You know what, Randy Shaver? I was call your mama good. She had to call her mother about it and say, this guy knocked it out of the park.
Oh, man.
Here's his email address.
Right.
He must now die.
Wow.
Yes.
She didn't want to share you.
You son of a bitch. The Lynx and Liberties play Game 3 of the WNBA Finals tonight right here in town.
Yes, they do.
Right here in town. It's a 7 o'clock game on ESPN. The Lynx are 20-5 at home this season, including 4-1 in the playoff. So go ahead, win that game tonight.
Yep.
What was I doing yesterday? Real quick, I talked about way too early predictions for NBA MVP.
Right.
Now what I have for you are way too early predictions on who's going to win the whole schmear. NBA regular season starts next week. Way too early predictions on who's going to win the whole stinking thing. The most popular answer was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Who won last year. Takes 0 balls to make that prediction. The two other more frequently mentioned squads. The Oklahoma City Thunders.
Yep.
And the Dallas Mavericks.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Nothing on the Timberwolves. But a few folks did pick them to win the Western Conference. Okay. But not the whole schmear. In the mix otherwise, at least got a mention or two in the Eastern Conference, the New York Knickerbockers, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Orlando Magic, and the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
In the West, I mentioned the Timberwolves, Denver Nugget.
Yep.
Phoenix Suns.
No.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Yep.
You're on the Grizzlies? I'm not.
I am.
New Orleans Pelicans?
How about Oklahoma City?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, yeah, I mentioned them as
okay, all right,
as possible world
champions. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
New Orleans Pelicans, yes or no?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
If Williamson is healthy,
and if the young center that they drafted turns out to be good, they could be decent.
And God forbid the Golden State Warriors.
No, they're too old. It's not going to happen. I think the West is really super competitive, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know who pisses me off now is the Sacramento Kings. I mean, went and got DeMar DeRozan. I'm surprised the Kings weren't mentioned in there.
Yeah,
so now they got
loaded.
Sabonis's kid, whatever his name is, the other Sabonis. They got the De'Aaron Fox. They got a bunch of great role players, and now they got DeMar DeRozan. Yeah. Right when this is what bothers me. Right when the Wolves were building up some momentum, then here comes Sacramento. I'm not factoring in any of the other Western Conference clubs who are terrific as well. I'm just pissed off Sacramento grew these balls now. Why couldn't they have grown these balls a few years from now?
I think the Mavericks are going to be better, even better than they were last year, because I think Klay Thompson's going to have a chip on his shoulder this year.
I disagree because
really?
I think they're going to be banged. They're always hurt. I just don't think Dallas. I don't see Dallas getting there. I just don't. I think Nick's right. I like Sacramento. I mean, I think they're a dark horse. But Oklahoma City, to me, is the front runner in the West. Just the talent they have, if they can stay healthy, they're really good.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of competition, absolutely, in the Western Conference.
And to be honest with you, I think San Antonio is going to be much better than they were a year ago. I think they
better be, because yesterday you said Wembayami's going to win the MVP.
I did.
Wembayami?
And the Rockets actually are going to be a much better basketball team this year too.
Yo, Rocket.
So
a listener wants to know if I can post that email from the angry mother on 93X.com.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Can you like black out some of the
foul language?
Yeah.
If I still had it, I would like people to see it because it's almost too out of this world to be true. Sorry, I did not hang on to that email in order to post it on 93X.com.
You guys make fun of me, for teaching that one quad of sex ed 4 years ago. That could be a lecture. You could come in and be a guest lecturer and tell people why you need to be careful.
Man, I could,
and you could show the email and you could read the email in class to the class.
You could have me there all week, Randy Shaver. If you want a lecture to talk about what not to do, you could have me there all week.
Yeah, you could even talk about an email with a link that you were sent.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I was there for that, too. I've seen some things.
Cubby's been on the front lines of some terrible things.
Oh, man.
All right, we'll talk to you boys later. Thanks very much.
All right.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
Every week, Michael Rosenbaum is getting deep with someone new on the Inside of You podcast. Actor James Marsters.
Are you somewhat content? Do you still stress a lot?
If anything, I feel guilty that I have it so good. If you make the decision to be an actor, the deal is poverty. I don't understand. How did I get here? You know? And the answer, how did I get here, is really one audition one day for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, wherever you listen.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nobody likes a know-it-all who sits around talking about their genitalia.
On 93X.
There you go. We're dialed in at 8:32 here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Welcome back. You're a wonderful crowd. We're a day away from heading on over, Josh, beyond the cheddar walls that separate us from the terrible state of Wisconsin. The Brotherhood Bash. Half-Assed Morning Show Brotherhood Bash starts tomorrow night.
Yeah, thank you for those who have been texting in saying they're going to join us. We'd like to talk you out of that live broadcast. Nothing to see, no fun whatsoever, too early in the morning, especially if you're hanging out Thursday night.
Yeah, just come grab the breakfast and leave.
Yeah, bring some breakfast back to the hotel room.
Yeah,
that is good breakfast.
Watch Sports Center.
Yeah.
Bacon is bomb.
The casino will be our home for a day or so.
Ashley ate it. Was it last year or the first year you ate an entire plate full of bacon during the show?
The first year, but I got a bunch of bacon last year, too. I can't stop with all that bacon.
Hipster. We'll probably get to know the bartenders over there right quick.
It's always good to get in good with the bartender, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
It can be a benefit. Sure, it can be. What is this someone handed me on the topic of robot bartenders? Here's what information I have in front of me. Tesla, you talking about the motor vehicle company?
Yep.
They had a party?
Yep.
And they had robot bartenders?
Yes, these things are insane. I'll post them on 93x.com so people can see them.
I don't have to tip them then.
Well, I suppose you still have to tip.
Well, what if they're programmed that you have to tip them well?
Are you gonna shortchange a robot?
Yeah.
They could grab you by the throat, pull all the arteries out, and you're a dead man.
Have you not seen Westworld, you moron?
No, I haven't.
Be an American. You always tip your bartenders. I don't care what they are. Robots, humans, don't matter to me. I'm tipping my bar. Is there a fear now that, robots are going to take over the bartending industry?
I don't think bartending will ever go away because of old timers.
So what's your name over there again? Ashley. You claim people are arguing, I'm assuming you mean on the godless internet.
Yep.
About how a part of going to a bar is, part of the enjoyment is to be able to talk to a real life bartender about your day and such. So there are people out there on social media saying, oh, God, I hope we never, on a daily basis, have to deal with robot bartenders.
Yeah, and then there's the other side of the coin, like what Wapple was saying, where people are like, I would love this because then I don't have to tip. Like, this is what happens when people, ask for a livable wage, stuff like that. And I don't think that bartenders will ever go away.
No, I hope not. I love bartenders. They always have the best gossip about the neighborhood. They know about all the new joints that are opening and closing.
Yep. I mean, if I walked into a bar and there was a robot bartender, I think I would walk out. Maybe watch them for a little bit, but that makes me uneasy.
Have you seen
I think it'd be a cool attraction. Hell yeah, it'd be a cool attraction, but I wouldn't want it to be the regular thing.
Have you seen the robot servers?
Yes.
No. Yes, those things are crazy.
Those things are so dumb sometimes. It's like, dude, there's something in your way. Move it.
Oh, I've only seen on video, but now there's people saying there's a place in Maplewood. This is up at the Crack of Dawn, Jesus, that has robots bringing your food. Have you heard that?
That's what I was talking about. It's called J-Spot or something like that.
J-Pot.
J-Pot, there we go.
I have not yet been served by a robot. No, I have not.
Yeah, like there will be a chair in the way, and then you can't, like, the robot can't get around the chair, and it can't move. So then, like, an actual human being has to come, move the chair, and then it's like, all right, go on.
So, okay, let's just, let's go back and forth on this. What are the pros of having a robot bartender? Now, you say you don't have to tip, but I would imagine if you go to a bar that features robot bartenders, you're going to be paying more for your drink than if it has a human bartender. So forget about that. We don't have to tip. Your drink's going to be more expensive if a robot is slinging it at you and saying something cute in a robot voice.
Well, I bet, sometimes if you get in good with the bartender, maybe they give you a little extra bump than what is normally required in that drink. I'm sure robots don't do something like that.
Robots aren't going to give you that extra bumpski, Cubby says, and he's right about that.
Less of a chance of taking that robot home at the end of the night with a bartender. You might have a chance.
Word.
A very, very, very small chance.
It's probably a small chance.
I had a pretty good batting average up at Pav's, but anyway.
People are saying that there are some cruise ships that have robot bartenders.
What?
I mean, I'm not disregarding robot bartenders. Like I said already, I think it'd be a cool attraction once in a while. I wouldn't always go see my robot bartender, but every once in a while I would think it was kind of cool. Again, especially if he can sling it in a certain way, and if it has a few pre-programmed smart-ass comments, I could see myself being drawn to that.
How you doing, Nikki?
Or maybe the robot bartender calls me a bitch over my drink order.
That would be
You know what I
fun.
mean? That'd be fun.
Now, these ones, I thought that I had read they were controlled by people, like they weren't actual just robots. Is that the case?
Yep. So, yeah, they're not, while they're learning, people say. It's like, because obviously the robot has to learn how to be a bartender. Someone controls them. But eventually the goal is to not have to have somebody control them.
I'm not even a drinker, but I wanted to be a bartender as a young person. Those late-night bartending school ads had me sold.
Did everyone in the room have that thought at least for a week or two to become a bartender?
Yeah.
Yes.
I looked into going to that school and get my certificate, degree, whatever it is in bartending.
Yeah.
But it was a little more than I could afford.
So you were watching the same late-night local programming that I was. That's when they ran the bartending.
Minnesota School of Bartending.
Yes, it was usually between about 2 and 5 in the morning when you were trying to suffer through a bad Channel 9 movie. They pumped you full of bartending ads, and it crossed my mind. I could never be a bartender. I'm glad I didn't sign up for it because I don't have what it takes. I don't enjoy people much.
That's kind of a qualification.
I've always thought it would be fun, but then I think about it more. It would be fun to do like a happy hour shift once a week, but if you're doing the real deal till 2 a.m. and then closing down the bar, that would be miserable.
I could never do what you people do, bartenders. I don't know how in God's name you
Customer
put up.
service nowadays, especially,
sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know how you
God
put up
bless you.
with some of these derelicts. And most bartenders I love. I do. You guys said earlier, I love a bartender. Well, there are a few out there who are dicks, too. I've had bad experiences with bartenders.
Yeah.
But I also have to say, I'm also drawn to an angry bartender. I kind of want to be there on the front lines in case they snap. So there's all different levels of entertainment when it comes to bartenders.
I know what you
I've
mean
had some
in a way.
dicks before too. Whereas, well, what are you doing back there if this is the friggin' attitude you have?
Exactly.
I've
You're
had
not
s-
making money.
I've had servers that were incredibly rude and in a bad mood, whatever. And my goal is always to try and turn it around. Like it's a
I can see that
challenge
out
to
of you.
me.
Yes.
There's a lady at I'll call it a sandwich shop by me, who's notoriously cranky. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows she's always cranky, and I made her smile one time. That was my lifetime goal. Okay, I might be exaggerating, but it was a goal of mine. I really wanted to make that happen. And then a person came in behind me and was so rude to this lady, I understood why the woman working there would be in a bad mood a lot.
Oh, man.
You're
That's
the kind of guy.
I was like mad at the lady behind me thinking, you ruined it. We had her smiling for a brief moment.
You're the kind of guy who would like to try and turn a stranger's smile upside down.
Well, the other way around. But yeah,
What did I say?
You smile upside down. But
Turn a frown upside down. I'm sorry.
I even did this. I paid attention to how she wanted people to order, right? Because sometimes people would say, I'd like this sandwich, and she'd like, no, what kind of bread? Like, you start in a certain way. And I would go there often enough, I knew exactly the order she wanted me to order in. I would work at that, and finally it made her smile, and some lady ruined it. Over the dumbest thing of all time.
Well, keep an eye out for robot bartenders. I don't want them bumping any of my favorite bartenders out of the way, but they can replace some of the pricks if they want to. But I'll say it again, I could never. I don't have what it takes to deal with people the way bartenders do. I give you all the credit in the world. Also, I don't know how to run one of those friggin' cash registers they got. They poke all those buttons, little colors. How the hell do you run one of those things? So I've got all the respect in the world for bartenders, and I would add it to this report on careers you would avoid even for double the pay. Even for double the pay, I would not make it as a bartender for a lot of reasons. Bartender doesn't make this list, but I think it should. A new survey went around town asking people about undesirable jobs, careers they'd avoid, even for double the pay that they're getting now.
Anything hard labor.
Anything?
Yeah.
There's no hard labor job that you would find enjoyable and worthwhile?
It sounds miserable. I don't want to have to sacrifice my muscles and my body and all that. That sounds awful.
Oh, I'd hate to work on an oil rig. Long hours. You have to usually be away from your family in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. There are a lot of hard labor jobs that would be miserable, but there are a few of them that I think would be quite enjoyable also. And satisfying. Well, I don't know. Let's see if there's any on the list here. Okay, to be an electrician made this list of jobs to avoid even for double the pay. I would be fascinated, at least at first, to be able to do what electricians do. I'm terrified of electricity, and I just off the top of my head, I think that would be an enjoyable gig.
I went on an electrician ride-along. I think I've showed you that before.
You did go on a ride-along with an electrician.
I did. Yeah.
And you know what? The electricians that I know, and I know 3-4 of them, they never really bitch about their job. They're happy people. I think they really seem to enjoy their job. So I'm surprised that made the list of a job that most of us would avoid even for double the pay. Wapple, your mention of oil rig worker also landed on this list. Now, of course, all I know about is what I see in movies and television, but I don't know. At the same time, that looks like a really cool gig, and you're outside, and the thing goes down into the ground, and the stuff shoots up, and then you tie something to this, and you and your buddies put in a big wad of chew, and you go slay some gals at the bar.
The thing is, they make a bunch of money right now. If you made double time for that,
And if you were an oil rigger, there's a chance President Billy Bob Thornton's going to come contact you to go up to space to save the world.
Oh my God!
I don't know why that had to happen. And I can't think of any right now off the top of my head as far as hard labor jobs that I also think would be satisfying and somewhat enjoyable. Can anyone else? Josh, throw out an example of a hard labor job that you think would be satisfying and enjoyable.
Because
Ashley
a labor job?
Yeah, Ashley wants to avoid all of them. I know there's got to be some that are satisfying and enjoyable.
If I was less wimpy, there's a lot I'd love to be able to do. I'd love to be able to frame a house. I liked landscaping, when I was in better shape.
There you go. Build a house.
Yes, things like that. Being pour concrete. I've done that when I landscaped a couple times. And I'll tell you what, you learn swear words. You learn there's rage within some of your coworkers you didn't know was there when you're just working your ass off. Try not to screw it up and get it done before everything dries.
I'm gonna let someone else lay the concrete. Okay,
Josh, this won't be a shock to you if they didn't trust me to lay the concrete when I worked landscaping.
I'm gonna hire someone else to lay the concrete. But the idea that I have the skill set to build my own house, hell yeah, that's hard labor. But when that's all said and done, I bet you feel like the king of the friggin' world.
Also, finish carpentry or cabinet making, things like that. Can you imagine having those skills?
Finish, Swedish carpentry? Finish?
Sure. Any European carpentry, whatever kind you can think of.
Half-assed morning show. Due to some sexual content, parental discretion is advised.
On 93X.
All right, here's what we were rapping about. And we're going to bring the show to a close with this conversation. Survey. You know those surveys, Josh?
Yeah, I've taken them before.
Yeah, you're always involved in those damn things. A survey was conducted. They asked people from this side of town and that side of town and all over the place. They asked people, what career would you avoid even for double the pay? So these are the least desirable gigs, I guess.
You couldn't pay me enough to be a politician. Not that I'd be qualified anyway.
We could use more guys like you, though, Cubby, so think about it.
You couldn't pay me enough to be a police officer unless I was what they call a desk jockey.
Yep.
There's a lot of people are texting in who love their jobs, and it's a lot of manual labor jobs. I'll tell you what, we got a guy, he's putting in new floors for us right now by himself, and it looks exhausting to do something like that. The talent, figuring out the angles you need to cut things and make things perfect, and he was kind of showing me yesterday some of the things you got to think about, stuff that like normal people like us with no skill don't think about, and you wonder, how do you do the math, much less all the physicality? And he was telling me about how many hours he works. And he didn't count things like just carrying in all the wood to the house or cleaning up I think even that would exhaust me and I'd want to go home for the day. Go, well, I carried everything in today.
Yeah,
I'll be back tomorrow to do something else.
Now,
It's
some
impressive.
folks, they're just wired for that kind of a thing. You said you said personally you would not even take double the pay to be a police officer?
No way.
What about, that made the report, that made the list, and we're going to get there in a minute. I also would not in a big city. But what about in a little tiny town?
Well,
You're
that
the
might be
only cop.
different.
You and some other guy are the only schmuck cops in town. That would be a different story for me.
The only problem with that'd be different. That would scare me because in the movies, it's always the tiny town cop that gets murdered first.
Yeah. Or he gets framed for something. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's what made the list for the careers a lot of us would avoid even for double the pay. Meat packing plant worker. Now, I'm sure that's hard work. And, part of our conversation was what hard labor jobs, manual labor, whatever you want to call it, what actual physical jobs out there are also enjoyable and satisfying. So let's start with meat packing plant worker. Although that does sound like hard work, maybe dirty work, kind of gross at times working at a meat. Sure, I'm sure all that's true. But as you guys know, the warehouse setting, working in a warehouse, created some of the best times I ever had in my life. I had a few different warehouse jobs before I got into this miserable line of work, and we it was hard work. We sweat our balls off. We worked our nuts off, but we had a riot. So any warehouse job, I can see the enjoyment in it.
And we've mentioned this before, but the jobs where when you're done, you see what you did for the day,
yes.
There's satisfaction there.
God.
Like mowing lawns was such a fun job. Just riding around in a truck with a bunch of dudes, right, giving each other hell and stuff like that. And then you go mow your lawn, you see what landscaping, building, any of that kind of stuff.
For 8 years, my damn have I missed that feeling. Because you don't get that feeling in radio. You do not. Your job is never done. And I'm not trying to... I know hard-ons are going to start texting in saying, you make your job sound so tough. Who do you think you are? That's not the vibe I'm trying to give off. It's just, there is not that satisfaction of seeing a completed job. That's all I'm saying.
No finished product.
Going back to the cop thing, how neither one of us would be a police officer, be double, triple, doesn't matter the money, especially nowadays. They can do no right.
But I'll go to that little town, though, I will.
I'll be a desk jockey or like an investigator where I could show up later and then I could criticize what everybody else screwed up.
Yeah.
Hey, get that flat foot out of here. You're ruining my crime scene. I want to say that just once. But I've got a text here that says, me agreeing with you on the police officer job as I'm sitting in my squad car. Oh, if I knew then what I know now.
Oh, man.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Commercial fisherman is one of the careers most of us would avoid even for double the pay. Now, I'll go along with that because fishing is supposed to be fun and include beer drinking.
This version is very dangerous.
I have buddies that salmon fish in the summer. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours.
That's why
sickness.
I could never watch, what were those popular fishing shows?
Deadliest Catch.
Yeah,
I could never watch those shows because everyone on the boat was a dick. And when you're on a boat, you should be having fun. And that was I'm like, I could never do this for a living. Why is everyone yelling at each other? You know what I mean? They were all dicks on that show. Okay, Cleaning windows on a skyscraper makes perfect sense.
No way.
It's terrifying.
Could never do that.
Again, electrician made the list. A job that no one wants, even for double the pay. I got a lot of text on electricians, and not a lot of it was good.
Electrician Jesus texted in on the topic, and he said, I love this study. Every time I hear studies like this, I double my rates. Did I mention I'll be out of town for the next 2 weeks going to my $1 million cabin? I love being an electrician.
Dude. Speaking of dicks.
Wow.
No need to be a douche about it.
He's joking.
Electricians, right. Text messages. One person said, who's qualifying electrical work as hard work?
I was waiting for those texts.
Another called electrician sissies. Okay, who else is on the list?
Being a plumber, that's a job that takes a special gut because we had to take out a sink, right? And a little, like a bathroom sink. And there was some sludge that came out of the drain.
Ew,
That's nasty.
And I thought, how did it? We had a plumber working on our house, and he just kind of grabbed it with his hand. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's what this is, whatever." And I was grossed out, and it was our own disgust.
Yeah, all that is that's a raccoon fetus. That's all that is. I'll just grab that with my hand. Okay,
I'm too much of a wimp.
We talked about oil rig worker. Tough gig. Nobody wants it, even if you double the pay. Got a couple texts on that. And here's a listener that says, I did 10 years on an oil rig in California, long hours. Miserable at times, but it was fun, and I do miss it. Another listener said, working on an oil rig is great until one of those chains rips your arm out.
Sure.
I want no part of that.
I could never work at like a slaughterhouse, too. That'd be brutal.
Roofer, however you say it. Yeah, I wouldn't work at a slaughterhouse, but maybe you get... We talked about that a few weeks ago. Roofer.
That'd be freaky.
But it does look kind of enjoyable.
Well, yeah, especially when they're hauling ass. That's and you get to throw stuff off a roof.
That part looks fun.
Yeah.
At our house, I thought, I'm going to put up Christmas lights this year. And I got up there, and the pitch was, I don't know, barely a pitch on top of that roof. And I thought, not too dangerous. I'm not doing it.
And then you add ice on top of it and everything.
What's on top of it?
Well, if you're trying to put up Christmas lights, if you have...
Well, there wasn't any...
lights. I thought you said mice.
There wasn't any ice on there, but my wife put some on before I went back up there.
Okay, being a roofer, sure, the cold would get to me and the heat. But when those fellas and ladies are really cooking up there with those nail guns, it looks like it might be kind of fun. Logger, I don't think I could handle losing a leg.
I've heard people love that job. Like we've heard from loggers before that said they love that job.
Okay, well, it's one of the jobs that made the list, saying people wouldn't do it even for double the pay. I know that I would be legless by lunch.
Oh, me too.
If I were a logger,
I'd be a liability to my coworkers. If I was a logger.
But going back to the same thing about mowing grass and stuff like that, seeing your progress and seeing you clear out an area, I'm sure would be so satisfying.
Power line worker, no, what's the word I'm looking for?
Linesman.
I can't think of how to finish that sentence. No chance. Isn't it amazing it took me that long to come up with the word? There's no chance I could work on power lines. I told you already, I'm terrified of electricity.
Another job that I know a lineman, one of the coolest guys I know. What's up, Fred? And they love the job, the ones that I know. I know two of them. And, these guys are freaking heroes, too, running down, getting power back in places that need, after hurricanes and stuff like that. That's an impressive gig.
Coal miner.
Oh, yeah.
Steel worker. Security officer?
I guess, maybe? I don't know.
They made the list. Security officer.
Mall cop?
Yeah, when I think of that,
I don't know.
Just think, that'd be boring.
There's all different types of security officers, and I think, this is my guess, that security officers get treated like garbage by everybody because they're not considered real cops. That might be why it made the list of a job nobody would take even for double the pay. I don't know for sure. Fluffer.
I'd be a fluffer. I don't need to be the star. I'll help somebody. I'll back somebody up.
Just do it for the love of the game.
Yeah, why not?
One of my buddies.
I like helping other people get better,
One of my pals who will be joining us when we go to, where are we going in a couple days?
We're going to St. Croix Casino, Turtle Lake.
Tomorrow. Wisconsin. Going to the casino. One of my pals who will be joining us on the trip, man, I hope you guys get to chat with him because he's a funny guy, an enjoyable guy. Many years ago, we were at the Wayzata Legion, and this table full of old ladies recognized him because they knew his mom and dad. And they said, "Are you Lanahan?" And he says, "Well, yeah." And he's a very polite, very good with older people. And, "Well, how's your mom and dad?" And so Lanahan's going back and forth with these old ladies. And then he just, he got to be cold-blooded about it. They said, "Well, what are you doing? Before you go, what are you doing now for a living?" And he said, "Oh, I'm a fluffer." Not one of them got the joke. They did. "Well, what is a..." He just walked away. But that was good stuff. All right, we got to get the hell out of here.
We should probably get going. We got to get to Wisconsin tomorrow. What are we doing here?
What are we
still?
doing? Tomorrow?
We got to be in Wisconsin tomorrow night. Why are we still here?
Tomorrow is when we go.
Tomorrow night.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.